Welcome to HOJO Radio.
Hello, everybody, hello. Halo is the shampoo that glorifies your hair. So hello, everybody, halo. For softer, lively curls and brighter, sparkling hair. So hello, everybody, halo. Halo shampoo, halo.
Our next popular broadcast aired from January 7th, 1941 to October 5th, 1952. It was created by producer Hyman Brown and based on the imprint given to the mystery novels of Simon & Schuster. In all, 526 episodes were broadcast. We proudly present to you Inner Sanctum.
Lipton Tea and Lipton Soup present Inner Sanctum Mysteries. Good evening, friends. This is your host of the Inner Sanctum inviting you in through the creaking door. Come on in and enter into the spirit of things. Don't pay any attention to those gurgling sounds you hear. They're the unfortunate ones. The midnight spirits who were caught haunting before midnight. Poor things. All they can do now is gurgle because they've evaporated into distilled spirits.
What a horrifying thought, Mr. Host. Can't we ever talk about the brighter side of life?
Well, don't forget, Mary, murder is my business.
Well, thank goodness it isn't mine. And right now, I'd much prefer to talk with our Lipton listeners about something more conducive to happy spirits. I mean, a cup of hearty, piping hot Lipton tea. You know, it's really wonderful, the extra delight you get from this superb tea, friends. And the reason is simply this. Lipton's grand brisk flavor. Brisk, you know, is the tea expert's own word for the fresh, full-bodied, lively flavor of Lipton tea. Because unlike ordinary teas, Lipton's is never flat-tasting or lifeless. Lipton tea is always spirited, full-flavored, truly satisfying. Why, I'd even go so far as to say that once you've tried it, I think you'll enjoy Lipton tea more than any other tea you've ever tasted.
And I'll go even further, Mary, and introduce our listeners to tonight's story. It's an original radio play written especially for Inner Sanctum by Emil Tepperman and starring Richard Widmark in the role of Alex Gregory. It's about a man who became master of a secret so fearful that it could never be revealed to any mortal, living or dead. But let him tell you the story himself, how he learned the most terrible secret in all the universe, and what he did with it.
It was an evening in September, the 15th to be exact, when I first learned of the existence of elixir number 4. It happened at Professor Jarman's house just off the college campus. You've heard of Jarman, of course. He was to chemistry what Einstein is to physics. But it was his daughter Elaine that I was interested in that evening in September when I rang their bell.
Well, hello, Alex. Oh, gosh, is it that late? I'm not even dressed.
Hi, sweet. Snap it up, will you? The last show starts at 8:30.
Well, it won't take me long. Wait for me in the library. I'll be ready in a jiffy.
I knew my way around the house. I went into the library, and the first thing I noticed was that the door to Professor Jarman's private study was ajar. It had never happened before. The private study and the laboratory beyond were forbidden territory in the Jarman home. Not even Elaine was allowed in there. And now the door was open. I'd heard stories of Jarman's experiments with new and secret formulae. So here was a chance. A possible chance to find out what the old codger was working on. I couldn't resist. I pushed open the door and I stepped into the private study. I could hear Jarman in the lab talking to himself. Elaine had told me once that he always talked to himself in the lab. I stood quietly in the study, but I couldn't make out what he was saying in there. I looked around. The study was just a small cubbyhole with a chair, a bookcase, and a desk. And on the desk, I saw the open diary. A single sentence was written on the open page. I stepped closer. And then I got the first shock. For that sentence was written in Latin. My Latin was rusty, but I was able to decipher the words, Vitae secretum in elixir quartum perpetus habeo. In elixir number 4, I have the secret of perpetus life. Perpetus. That was the one word I couldn't seem to place. In elixir number 4, I have the secret of something. Life. I was puzzling over that word perpetus when suddenly the laboratory door was flung open.
What are you doing at my desk?
Oh, hello, Professor Jarman.
I asked you, what are you doing at my desk?
Well, the study door was open. I thought I'd see if you were in here.
You were reading my diary.
Oh, no, Professor.
You saw the entry in my diary.
Oh, really, Professor, I assure you.
You read Latin.
Latin? Well, I don't understand.
You're sure you don't understand Latin?
No, I don't.
Alex. Ready and... What, is anything wrong?
Elaine, I've told you time and again, no one is to be admitted to my study.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dad. You must have left the door open. Oh, Alex, you shouldn't
I'm
have
terribly sorry, Elaine. I found the door open, and I thought Professor Jarman was in here. I just wanted to say hello.
All right. No harm done, as long as you can't read Latin. Now, get along, you two. I'm busy, but keep out of my study hereafter.
I took Elaine to the movies, but I haven't the faintest recollection of what the picture was about. Through my mind kept running that Latin sentence, Vitae secretum in elixir quartum perpetus habeo. When I said goodnight to Elaine at her door after the show, I hurried home to my room and I got out an old Latin dictionary. I looked up the word perpetus. And then I got a strange, cold feeling down my spine. For the word perpetus meant perpetual. The Latin sentence which Jarman had written in his diary meant, in elixir number 4, I have the secret of perpetual life. Professor Jarman had discovered the secret of immortality. All the next day I conducted my chemistry classes purely by instinct. I couldn't take my thoughts from elixir number 4. Every voice in the classroom seemed to sing the same refrain.
Accomplished by adding to a dilute solution of H2SO4 a quantity
immortality. Never to know the fear of death. To live on serenely. To watch the world change through the centuries. Never to die. It grew on me like a festering tumor, this terrific dream of immortality, everlasting life. I had to have elixir number 4. In the afternoon, the first free period I had, I went down the hall to Jarman's office.
Come in.
May I come in for a moment, Professor?
Oh, it's you. Yes, come in. I haven't much time.
Professor, I want to apologize for last night.
Let's forget about it. No harm done.
Well, whatever it was you had written in your diary, it must have been pretty important.
Oh, no, not at all. Only some chemistry notes. Nothing of any importance. Just something I've been experimenting with.
Well, I'd be very glad to assist you, Professor. Anything I could do,
That's very kind of you, young man, but I don't need any assistance, thank you. As a matter of fact, the experiment is completed.
You mean you're all finished?
All but the practical application.
Oh. Well, couldn't I help you on that?
It won't be necessary. Tonight, I'm taking the last step.
Tonight? I knew what that meant. Tonight he was going to use elixir number 4. He was going to administer it to himself. I had had to act tonight or never. Jarman's keys were on his desk. I distracted his attention, and I managed to pick them up without his noticing. Then I hurried across town to a locksmith and had him make duplicates of Jarman's house key, his study key, and his laboratory key. Then I returned to the college, and I managed to replace the keys on Jarman's desk while he was out. Now, I was ready for an adventure into immortality. At 8:30 that evening, I let myself into Jarman's house, opened the study door, and stepped quietly over to the laboratory. I knew Elaine was at a sorority meeting. The professor and I were the only ones in the house. Jarman was standing at the lab table with his back to me, talking away to himself. There was a small vial on the table and a hypodermic syringe alongside it.
The quantity administered yesterday will be sufficient. At my age, since my blood is too thin, I require the additional dose. But a younger man would need only one injection to cause the necessary type change in his blood. Who's that?
Good evening, Professor Jarman. I hope I'm not interrupting.
What are you doing here? How did you get in?
So elixir number 4 changes the bloodstream, huh?
What do you want in here?
Quit stalling, Professor. I know what elixir number 4 is.
Ah.
So this is it. Elixir number 4.
Careful. Don't spill it.
How much of this stuff have you got?
That's all there is. 5 cc's.
You mean you haven't got any more?
It took me 5 years to distill 10 cc's. Before that, I experimented for 10 years. And I failed 3 times.
And this is your 4th try, huh? Elixir number 4. And there isn't any more of it?
It will take me 5 years more to make up another bat. Please be careful. Don't drop it.
Don't worry, I won't. You said this is enough to make the average man immortal. Me, for instance?
It's not for you. You hear me? Not for you.
Oh, yes, it is, Professor. It's for me.
I won't let you... What are you doing with that mallet?
What do you think?
No.
I'm so sorry, Professor.
Wait, I'll let you have it. Don't kill me.
I've got to kill you. When I take this dose of elixir number 4, I'll be immortal. And I don't want anyone to know it.
Go away, you fool. You'll never enjoy your immortality. You'll wish you were dead 1,000 times. I'll come back to remind you,
I didn't hit him hard enough to kill him. That wasn't part of my plan. But when he lay unconscious on the floor, I searched among the chemicals until I found what I wanted. I mixed some chemicals in a test tube, and I watched the fumes forming. Then I held the test tube against Jarman's mouth, forcing the deadly gas into his lungs. When I was sure he was dead, I wiped the tube clean of my fingerprints and put it back in the rack. Then I picked up the vial of elixir number 4, the hypodermic syringe, and I hurried away, locking all the doors behind me. As soon as I got home, I filled the hypo with elixir number 4, and I gave myself the injection. Almost immediately, I felt a strange radiance pervading my body. A new strength was flowing in my blood. I was immortal. I couldn't die. I would go on living and living and living forever.
Hey, what's going on here? What's all this about living forever? If you ask me, it would be more of a curse than a blessing. Now, just suppose we all took a shot of this elixir number 4. I think of all the people who'd lose their jobs. Grave diggers and stone cutters and shroud makers and hearse drivers and... Oh, Oh, why go on? You see what I mean. Why, everybody'd be out of a job. We'd all practically starve to death.
Well, then, Mr. Host, maybe we can be glad that nobody has ever found the fountain of youth. You know, I think it's not a matter of trying to live forever. The important thing is to get more enjoyment out of every day.
Mm-hmm. For instance, Mary.
Well, for instance, one splendid way to get more enjoyment out of an otherwise dull day is to invite your friends in for tea. It's a delightful neighborly custom, made even more delightful when the tea you serve is Lipton's, because there's so much extra pleasure in Lipton tea. The party will seem more of a party. The conversation will be more sparkling, and your reputation as a thoughtful hostess will soar to the skies the moment your guests take their first sip of Lipton tea. For Lipton's wonderful brisk flavor makes it a favorite with everybody. So when friends drop in for tea, or the family gathers around the dinner table, serve them Lipton's, tea at its delicious best.
And now let's get back to our story. We're all anxious to see what this fellow Alex does with his secret of perpetual life. Just imagine, a man with all that time on his hands. Time to kill. And kill. And kill.
Immortality. I had it in my blood. I could feel it pulsing in my veins. The vitality, the power. I had to establish an alibi. Not that I expected to need an alibi. Jarman's death would surely look like an accident or suicide when his body was found in the laboratory in the morning. But I wasn't taking any chances on a murder charge. I had so much more to lose now. Wouldn't it be ironic if they were to execute me for murder? Me, an immortal. Next morning, I stopped at Jarman's house and rang the bell. I knew Elaine must have gone right to bed when she returned from the sorority meeting last night, because she never disturbed her father when he was in the lab. But now, when she discovered that he hadn't been to bed all night, she'd want to investigate. And I wanted to be there when the body was found.
Oh, good morning, Alex.
Hello, sweet. What's wrong? You look worried.
Come on in. Alex, I am worried. Dad's still in the lab. He didn't go to bed last night.
Well, what of it? He must be working on something big.
No, I'm afraid something's happened. I knocked at the door just now and there was no answer.
The door was locked?
Well, yes, but I have a pass key. I wonder if I ought to use it.
Well, of course you should.
Well, please, Alex. You come with me.
Of course, darling. Together we opened the laboratory door. I was all set to act horrified when we discovered the body on the floor. But there was no need to act. I was horrified. For the lab was empty. There was nothing on the floor. The body of Professor Jarman was gone. I don't know for how many hours after that I walked the street, confused and frightened and uncomprehending. I tried to reason it out, how Jarman's body had walked out of that lab. There was only one solution. Jarman had already taken one dose of elixir number 4. It must have counteracted the poison that I'd forced into him. He must have gotten up and then walked away. But where? And why? I recalled what he'd said before I hit him with the mallet. Yes, I could hear his voice faintly strumming at my brain.
You'll never enjoy your immortality. You'll wish you were dead 1,000 times. I'll come back to remind you.
The next day, I went to Elaine's house, and I saw that she was taking her father's disappearance pretty hard.
Oh, Alex, I don't know what to make of it. Do you think that Dad... that he's...
Now, take it easy, baby. Maybe he's just suffering from amnesia. Maybe he just walked out of the house. He might turn up tomorrow.
I have a terrible feeling, Alex, that he's dead.
What makes you think so?
Oh, I don't know.
Now, please, that won't do you any good.
Oh, but it's the uncertainty. If I only knew for sure. Alex. Do you believe in mediums?
Communicating with the dead?
Do you believe a medium can put you in touch with the dead?
Oh, is that what you're thinking of, darling? Going to a medium?
But don't you see, Alex, if Dad is dead, maybe...
I was worried, too. I had to know if Jarman was dead or alive. I had to know before I could start enjoying life. Yes, that might be a good idea, Elaine. Can't hurt to try. There's a medium in town.
Oh, I don't know what I want to do. Let me think about it.
Well, sure, darling. In the days that followed, I began to doubt whether I really was immortal. Was elixir number 4 really the elixir of life? Was I really going to live forever? If there was only some way to prove it. Then I remembered what Jarman had said, that the elixir caused a change of blood type. Well, that'd be easy enough to check. Elaine was taking a medical course, so I asked her to test my blood on the pretext that I thought I had anemia.
It won't hurt, Alex. Just the needle.
Ouch.
There, now I've got all the blood I need. Just sit here a minute while I make the test.
Well, does it take long?
Only a minute. Alex.
She was excited. There was something different about my blood then.
Alex, come here quick.
What?
Look. Oh, look, Alex. I can't be mistaken. Your blood. It's a new type.
Elaine couldn't get over the discovery that my blood was a new type. I'd asked her not to tell anyone about my new blood type, but I knew she wouldn't be able to keep the secret for long. And once it got out, people might begin to suspect what I already knew for sure, that I was immortal. Oh, I couldn't afford to have that known, because then everybody in the world would be envious of me. They'd hate me, too, because they'd know I could go on living long after they were dead. Oh, no. No, it had to be a secret forever. No one in the whole world must know, except myself. And the only person who could spill the secret now was Elaine. So, there was only one thing to do. Elaine furnished the opportunity herself the next day.
Alex, I've been thinking about that medium. I've got to know if Dad is alive or dead.
All right, whatever you say, darling, if it'll make you feel any better. I'll go with you, of course. Just the two of us, huh? We made a date to go to the seance that evening, and I made my plans accordingly. I didn't intend that Elaine should leave the seance alive. We arrived at the medium's house promptly at 9 o'clock. The medium asked Elaine and me to sit close to each other. And then she put out the lights.
Alex.
It's all right, sweet. I'm right here. I'm right next to you.
I'm frightened.
Now, there's nothing to be frightened about, darling. I'm right here with you.
But it's so dark. I can't see anything. I don't hear anything. Where's the medium?
She's still here. She's right across the table. She's gone into a trance.
Do you think she'll contact Dad's spirit?
I don't know, darling. Wait and see. I timed myself carefully, waiting for the moment when the medium should be well into her trance. Then I took out of my pocket the hypodermic syringe. I held the plunger in my left hand while I gripped Elaine's arm with my right, my thumb over the artery.
Alex, my arm, your fingers hurt.
It's all right, sweet. Slowly, I brought the hypodermic needle up close to the artery. One bite of the needle, a single plunge of the plunger, and death would come almost instantaneously. And no one in the world could say that it hadn't been heart failure. But suddenly, just as I had the plunger ready, I heard something strange. A sound. In the room where there should have been no sound.
You'll never enjoy your immortality. You'll wish you were dead 1,000 times. I'll come back to remind you. Back to remind you.
The voice of the dead.
Back to remind you.
Jarman, where are you? Jarman, stop. You're dead. You're dead, Jarman. You can't be talking. You're dead. I saw your dead body. I killed you myself. Suddenly, the lights flashed up. The room was full of police.
Arrest him, officer. He killed my father. You heard his confession.
That voice.
That was Dad's voice, Alex. A recording.
What? A recording?
That's why he always talked to himself in the lab. He had a wire recording machine. He talked while he carried on his experiments so that there'd be a permanent record. The wire recorder picked up everything that was said in the lab the night you killed him. But we could never have proved it was your voice in court if you hadn't confessed just now.
Yes, but the body.
I found Dad dead that night when I got back from the meeting. And I hid the body until I could find his murderer. And now, Alex, I found him.
All through the trial, Elaine sat and watched me. All the time the jury was out, she sat and watched me. And she watched me while they read the verdict of guilty. Her eyes never left me when I stood up to be sentenced and heard the judge say,
Alex Gregory, it is the judgment of this court that you be confined to the penitentiary for the rest of your natural life.
Me of all people. Me sentenced to imprisonment for life. Me in whose veins runs the precious elixir number 4. Imprisonment for the rest of my natural life, which means forever.
You know, I feel kind of sorry for Alex. He really got a tough break. Locked up in a cell for all eternity and no way out. Yes, looks like they'll have to build a new jail around him every 1,000 years or so. Of course, there's one way out for him. He could let his beard grow for a couple of centuries, and when it gets long enough, he could hang himself.
Oh, imagine such a thing, Mr. Host.
Yes, it would be sort of breathtaking, wouldn't it, Mary? Poor Alex. He probably had many good impulses in his lifetime. Yes, the trouble is he didn't follow them.
Well, Mr. Host, I'm afraid that's something we all do every now and then. For instance, perhaps some of you Inner Sanctum fans have promised yourselves the pleasure of trying Lipton tea, but somehow just haven't gotten around to it. Or maybe you've just forgotten it when you're writing out your grocery list. Well, this time, make sure. Add Lipton tea to your grocery list right now. For until you do try it, you're missing a real treat. Why not start enjoying lively, full-bodied Lipton tea beginning tomorrow?
And now, friends, before I say goodnight, here's a pleasant bit of philosophy. Biologists tell us that all life starts in a little cell, and for convicted murderers, it ends there, too. Oh, by the way, this month's Inner Sanctum mystery novel is Death in the Limelight by A.E. Martin. And next week's Inner Sanctum story, brought to you by the makers of Lipton Tea and Lipton Soup, and directed by Hyman Brown. Next week's story is called You'll Never Escape. So, if you feel in a capturing mood, join us next Tuesday. Until then, good night. Pleasant dreams.
Friends, you want to know how to make an ordinary meal into a feast? Start it right. Start it bright with tempting, heartwarming Lipton's Noodle Soup. Lipton's Noodle Soup is ready to serve in a jiffy, and what a treat it is. Lots of tender, golden noodles and a world of real chickeny flavor that makes it taste homemade. It's economical, too. Lipton's noodle soup mix costs less and makes lots more than canned soups. So try Lipton's noodle soup real soon. And don't forget to tune in next week at the same time for another Inner Sanctum Mystery.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Calcium helps grown-ups to a more vigorous life.
And now there's calcium in hot wheat meal.
Calcium helps your body run smoothly.
And now there's calcium in hot wheat meal.
Calcium helps you to enjoy a more active life.
And now there's calcium in hot wheat meal.
Yes, a 1-ounce serving contains 1/3 of your daily calcium needs. And Post Wheat Meal is a whole wheat cereal, creamy, smooth, delicious, cooks instantly. Get new Post Wheat Meal with more calcium than any other cereal, hot or cold.
HOJO Radio. We're your old-time radio headquarters. Stay tuned.
Good times are here.
Creep. Tonight, your Mystery Playhouse presents Inner Sanctum. Mr. Holmes, the door.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum. This is your host to welcome you through the squeaking door. What's that? You're scared. Don't be frightened. And now, friends, do whatever it is that you do when fear fastens cold fingers on your spine. A cigarette, perhaps, or a handkerchief to twist. Anything to brace you against tonight's tale of horror. It's an original radio play written especially for Inner Sanctum by Michael Sklar and called Death is a Double Crosser. Our star tonight is Lawson Zerbe, who plays the part of Harry Smith, murderer.
I looked at the blood-splattered mallet, still gripped in my hand, and down at Marie's body. It was like coming out of a bad dream, only to go into a nightmare. Instead of using a mallet to cut the King Midas diamond, I'd used it to murder my wife. And the big diamond was still in the vise, still sparkling in the light of the work lamp, still tormenting me with the glow of its inner fires. The thing was evil. Anderson had warned me.
Does the diamond frighten you, Harry? No wonder. The story of great diamonds is a history of intrigue, violence, murder.
Anderson was right. My luck had been all bad ever since I came to his house. It was one of those old New York brownstones, big enough for several families, but only 2 people were living there when I came. Anderson and my wife. Marie was working as his housekeeper, and she gave me away.
He's about 70 years old, Harry. He lives all alone here. It's perfect for you.
No family?
No wife, no children, no friends. He never goes out except on business, and no one ever comes to see him.
Sounds good to me, Marie.
Good. It's perfect. I'll tell him you just got out of the army. He won't ask questions. He'll never find out you were in prison.
What does he do for a living?
He's a diamond cutter.
A diamond cutter? You don't say.
He was famous once.
Diamonds.
He doesn't cut little ones, Harry. Only the great big diamonds worth thousands of dollars.
I moved in with Marie, and for a while everything was quiet. I didn't mind the quiet after that 5-year forgery rap in Sing Sing. And then one day the peace and quiet ended. I met old Anderson on the steps going down to the street.
Good morning, Harry.
Oh, hello, Mr. Anderson. Hey, you look all excited. Some good news come your way?
I hope so, Harry. Of course, I can well afford to be idle, but it would be pleasant to work again. And it's nice to know that people still remember you.
Is it a job?
Wonderful job. If I get the assignment, I'm sure I'll get it. He couldn't give it to anyone else.
A diamond?
One of the largest diamonds in the world. The King Midas stone, discovered last year in the Kimberley fields. It was purchased recently by Johnson, the multimillionaire. I'm on my way to his home to discuss the cutting.
Well, good luck. I sure hope you get the job, Mr. Anderson. The next afternoon, Anderson invited me up to his workroom. On the bench was a square black velvet covered by a white cloth. Something big was underneath that cloth. Anderson lifted it, and for the first time I saw the King Midas diamond. What do you think of it, Harry? For a second, I couldn't talk. The blood was pumping too fast. 215 carats. When I'm finished cutting, it'll be reduced to 125. How much will it be worth?
Diamonds like that? You could get $100,000, and no questions asked.
That's funny. It's kind of oily on the surface, but down inside it gleams like it's on fire.
Does it frighten you?
Yeah. Stone like that does things to me.
The story of great diamonds is a history of intrigue, violence, murder.
You said something about cutting it.
I'd have to study the King Midas until every detail of the task is clear in my mind. Then just a few light blows of the mallet on the chisel, and the result will be a flawless diamond.
How long will it take?
Oh, I should say about 2 months, Harry.
I went downstairs to Marie. One look at me, and she knew something had happened. I told her my plan.
If they catch you, they'll send you back to jail.
They won't catch me. I've got it all figured out. This is our chance. He told me himself that the diamond will be worth $100,000 when he's finished.
$100,000?
Yeah. No more pots and pans and scrubbing floors. No more passing phony checks. We'll be set for life, Marie.
How are you going to go about it?
I'll wait until he's finished cutting the diamond.
How will you know when he's finished? You'd have to know the exact time. If you waited too long, he might turn it over to the owner, Mr. Johnson. Then where would you be?
Don't worry. I've got that figured out, too.
So you want to become a diamond cutter, Harry?
If you'll teach me the work, Mr. Anderson, I promise it won't be any bother. All I want to do is watch you while you go about cutting the King Midas.
Diamond cutters aren't made overnight. It takes a great deal of time. I spent 50 years learning the craft.
Oh, please, Mr. Anderson, you don't know what this means to me.
Well, all right, Harry. I'll let you watch me as I work.
So that's how it began. Every day for 2 months, I went upstairs and watched Anderson as he studied the King Midas diamond.
Cleavage must take place along planes parallel to the octahedron bases of the crystal.
Step by step, he explained the job, how he would split it, where he would place the notches so that the diamond would split along the exact lines he wanted. He went over every detail again and again and again. Finally, he cut the notches for the splitting. Slowly, carefully. And then he placed the diamond in the vise. He got out the chisel and the mallet and placed them on the workbench. It was like a wedding ceremony. I was on fire. I couldn't wait.
Just a few taps with the mallet, and it's done.
Are you going to do it now?
No, Harry. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. He kept putting it off. Then I realized what it was. He was scared. He couldn't trust his unsteady hands. It hit me like a ton of brick. He was never going to cut that diamond.
You're so smart. What are you going to do now?
I'm going to cut the diamond myself.
You?
Yeah, me. I know how to do it. It's all set. There's nothing to it.
But what about Anderson?
We don't need Anderson anymore.
You mean?
Yeah.
But that's murder.
So it's murder. They'll never pin it on us. I've figured out a way to do it without leaving any trace behind. We went upstairs. Anderson was standing where I left him at the workbench. He was so lost in thought that he didn't hear us come in.
He isn't looking. Get it over with.
All right.
Let go of me.
I don't like to do this, Mr. Anderson, honest.
Bertie, stop it. It's no use, Mr. Anderson. Don't. Please.
He begged for mercy. He fought back, but it was useless. I had a firm grip on his neck with both hands, and he was an old man. I squeezed tighter and tighter till his voice was cut off. His body stopped thrashing around. I held him like that a couple of seconds more for good measure.
You can let go of him now. He's dead, Harry.
Dear. Imagine that. Cold-blooded murder. Killing a harmless old man like Mr. Anderson, choking him to death. Doesn't that slay you? And all because of a piece of ice. Why, it makes me hot under the collar. And that cool cucumber, Harry Smith. I'll bet he gets so hot that he'll burn before he's through. Well, friends, let's get back to Harry Smith and his charming wife. Such nice people. They killed old Anderson, the diamond cutter, to steal a piece of ice worth $100,000. And unless they have a lot of another kind of ice handy, they'll have to do something fast to get rid of the body.
We carried Anderson's body down to the cellar and broke open the brick wall. Placing the old man's body behind it, we bricked it up again. Then we went through my plan. I wrote a suicide note.
To whom it may concern, I, Olaf Anderson, because I failed in the task of cutting the King Midas diamond, have decided to take my life. When this note is found, I will be dead.
It was easy for me, a professional forger, to fake the suicide note in Anderson's handwriting. I had him say he was going to end it all in the river and that he was taking the diamond with him to his death. And that night, Marie and I took a walk across the footpath over the Hudson River Bridge. When we reached the middle,
You got the suicide note in Anderson's overcoat pocket?
Yeah.
No cars coming from either direction. Now's a good time to drop it.
There. The cops will find the coat and figure that he took it off before he climbed the rail and jumped.
All right. Come on, hurry. Let's get away from here.
We went home. Marie telephoned police headquarters and asked for the Missing Persons Bureau.
Hello? I want to report a missing person. It's the man I work for, Olaf Anderson. Yes, Anderson. I'm his housekeeper, and I'm worried because it's so late and he hasn't come home. My name? Mrs. Harry Smith.
We went to bed. I guess we would hear from the police the next morning, and I was right.
Yes, what is it?
Megan is the name, lady. Detective Joe Megan, Missing Persons Bureau.
Oh, yes, come in.
Are you the party who reported a man named Olaf Anderson missing?
Yes, did you...
we find him? I think so. I'd like you folks to come down to the morgue with me.
The morgue?
What for?
They've got a body down there. Body of an old man that fits the description of Anderson. Was fished out of the Hudson River early this morning. might be able to identify. Oh, yeah, folks. Before I lift the sheet on this slab, I ought to warn you. This stiff ain't exactly pretty.
We can stand a little shock, Megan.
I just thought the lady...
I'm all right.
Okay, then. Well, you recognize him?
His face is gone like he went through a meat chopper.
Most of his clothes were gone, too, when we got him. Poor guy must have got caught in the propeller of a passing ship.
Marie, it's Mr. Anderson.
Harry.
Don't you recognize the past? They're from that old suit he always used to wear.
Oh, yes. Yes, you're right.
So you can identify him, eh?
I'm sure that's Mr. Anderson.
Well, I guess that closes the case. Suicide. Body recovered. And a great big hunk of diamond at the bottom of the Hudson River.
It was a lucky break for us. We were in the clear, and the King Midas diamond was ours. We went back to the house. I took the diamond up to the workroom, and I placed it in the vise. I got out the mallet and the chisel. I thought it would be easy to cut the stone. Until I tried.
Well, what are you waiting for?
My hand is shaky. I'm kind of nervous. Things have been coming too fast. Let's put this off until tomorrow. I know I said I'd do it tonight, but...
But what?
I don't feel so well tonight, Marie.
You're lying. How long are you going to keep this up?
I take it easy.
You said you knew how to do it.
I do.
Well, then cut it. For heaven's sakes, get it over with.
Don't rush me. If I make a mistake, it'll cost us $100,000.
You've been putting it off for 3 days now, Harry. First this and then that. There's always something. You've always got a reason for not cutting that diamond.
Now, listen, Marie, I've got to be careful. Knowing how to cut the diamond is one thing. Doing it is another.
You're scared. That's what's the matter with you.
Don't say that.
You're frightened. Look at your hands. See how they shake. Well, you can hardly hold the mallet and chisel. You're as bad as Anderson was.
She was right. My hands were shaky, just like Anderson's before I killed him. I tried for control. I told myself the diamond was nothing but a chunk of carbon crystal. I placed the chisel against the stone. I raised the mallet. But I couldn't bring it down.
No, what are you waiting for?
I don't know how hard to strike.
A gentle blow. That's what you said Anderson told you.
I can't do it.
You can't do it. Of course you can. Don't be a stupid fool. There's nothing to it.
She went wild. She began to shake my arm and scream at me. But her voice seemed to come from a distance. I kept staring at that diamond as though I were hypnotized. My throat was dry as dust. I was dizzy. Pinpoints of fire shot across my eyes. The diamond was doing things to me that was driving Marie crazy. Suddenly I couldn't stand it. Her voice snapped something in my mind.
You fool, you stupid idiot. Don't stand there like a silly...
Shut up.
Don't you dare shout at me.
Shut up. I've had all I can take from you.
Why, of all the nerve, you... Harry, put down that mallet. Stay away from me. I didn't mean those things I said. Take as much time as you like. Don't. Harry!
Marie. I'm sorry. I lost my head. Marie, say something. He's dead. I killed him. I took her body down to the cellar, reopened the wall, placed her body with Anderson's. I'd hardly finished putting the bricks back into place when the front doorbell rang. I cleaned my hands, went upstairs, opened it.
Hello, Smith.
It was Megan, the detective. He came in, looked around suspiciously, and closed the door behind him.
What's the matter with you, Smith?
Me?
Yeah, you. You look sick.
Me sick? I never felt better in my life.
It's the light. Is your wife at home?
No, she isn't.
Expect her home soon?
Why, no. No, she went to Baltimore. visit her mother.
Left kind of suddenly, didn't you?
What are you driving at, Megan?
Take the chip off your shoulder. Nobody's picking on you yet.
What do you mean?
This Anderson suicide.
You said the case is closed.
It's closed until this morning. Now, there's a couple of angles in the case that don't make sense. I'm not even sure the old guy we pulled out of the river is Anderson.
But I identified him.
Sure you did. Yesterday, a guy named Keel showed up at the morgue and swore that same body was his father.
It must be Anderson. A suicide note.
Suicide note said Anderson was killing himself because he made a mistake and ruined the King Midas diamond.
There, don't you see?
But Anderson never got the job of cutting that diamond.
Hey, what? Say that again.
Anderson never was commissioned to cut the King Midas diamond. How do you like that?
It can't be. He told me himself.
I got that information straight from the owner, Mr. Johnson.
I don't believe it.
Johnson was out of town until this morning. I got in touch with him, making a routine check on the facts. He told me he never commissioned Anderson to cut the stone. Said Anderson was too old and unreliable to be trusted with the job.
But I saw the diamond. Saw it on Anderson's workbench.
The diamond you saw must have been a phony.
A diamond. Still upstairs in the workroom. Still waiting to be cut. I couldn't believe it was a phony. I wouldn't believe it. It had to be the King Midas. Megan was getting more and more suspicious. I had to act fast before he got down to the cellar and noticed the fresh plaster on the wall. I had to make sure about the diamond. I'd gone too far now to back out. I hit Megan on the head with an andiron. He was unconscious. I dragged his body into the closet and locked the door. Upstairs in the workroom, I grabbed up the chisel mallet. No time to think now, no time to be frightened. I had to know if that diamond was the King Midas. I put the edge of the chisel to one of the cleaving grooves and struck with the mallet. It chips like glass. Yeah, it is glass. He was right. I went through all this for nothing. The whole thing was clear now. Anderson had lied to me. He had lied even to himself. Yeah, that was it. He had been unwilling to admit even to himself that he was no longer good enough to be trusted to cut the King Midas diamond. He was nuts. And he made up that crazy story. And I swallowed it. There was one thing left to do. I had to get away. As far away as possible and as fast as I could. I ran up the stairs.
Going somewhere, Smith?
Megan.
Raise your hands. Get them up higher. Now, come on down here. That's close enough.
How'd you get out of the closet?
No trick at all to force that door when I recovered from the crack on the head you gave me. That sock did something for me, Smith. You know, it gave me a brand new angle on this case.
A new angle?
Yeah. How's this? You thought Anderson had the King Midas diamond. So you killed him for it and planted that phony suicide note on the bridge. You know, we almost fell for it.
No,
You killed Anderson. I wouldn't be at all surprised if you murdered your wife. And all for a phony 5 and 10 cent store diamond.
Poor Harry Smith. What a life. A Smith caught between the hammer and the anvil. You know, he never should have lost his head and murdered his wife. No, because now it looks as though he's going to have to lose the rest of it. Yes, right now, Harry is really harried. And when the state executioner gets him, he'll be fit to be tied in a noose.
you, Mr. Host, for an enjoyable performance in our Mystery Theater. This is Hunter Galloway saying good night. Sleep tight.
Never borrow money needlessly, just when you must. Borrow them where loans are a specialty from folks you trust. Borrow confidently from HFC.
Household Finance Corporation offices are listed in your telephone book.
Our next broadcast is a supernatural fantasy series that ran from 1943 through 1945. There were 78 episodes produced altogether. The show's strength was stories from famous writers of the two genres, including Robert Louis Stevenson, Victor Hugo, Edgar Allan Poe, and even Charles Dickens. One of the more unusual aspects of the show was that there was no music, other than between scenes. Some have claimed that this lack of music helps to keep the show from being dated, as it remains fresh to this day. We present to you The Weird Circle on HOJO Radio.
Out of the past, phantoms of a world gone by, speak again the immortal tale, The Executioner.
The monastery gardens are in fine condition, Brother Leo. You have done well with them.
Thank you, Reverend Father Abbot. There's the Marquis de la Gagnette driving up. He's very devout. Comes here every day to our chapel.
You needn't wait. I'll walk home.
Ah, Marquis, old friend. Another lovely day, is it not?
And then another night, Abbot. Another night of haunting dreams.
Pax vobiscum, my son.
Peace. How can I find peace?
Ah, poor tormented soul.
He built this monastery, didn't he?
Yes, in memory of the Ganeth family.
And he comes here every day to pray for their souls.
No, Brother Leo. To pray for his own soul.
But why, Father? He's loved by all the people of this town for his good works.
Yes, my son. And he's honored in all Spain.
I wonder about him so often. His face is always sad. His eyes are tragic.
His has been a sad, an incredibly sad life, my son.
In the years since I came here, I've never seen him smile.
No, he's never smiled since.
Sit here, Father, under the trees and tell me about him. Why do the townsfolk call so rich and so great a man El Verdugo, an executioner? I heard them do so many times, but they say it is a title of honor. Why?
I think it's right that you should know his story. You will be serving the family at the castle in future years, and you should have an understanding of the tragedy that befell them.
Was it long ago, sir?
Yes, some 30 years ago, when I was a young priest like yourself. How to begin? Well, the Marquis Juan de Leganez, father of the man you know, was a grandee of Spain. His family, one of the oldest and proudest in the land. The old man was a fanatic, a patriot devoted to his people, the citizens of this town of Menda. There was peace in our land until that upstart Bonaparte thought he would own all Europe. Italy, Austria, and the lowlands fell, and then the invaders entered Spain. Because the old Marquis was suspected of plotting with the English against them, a French battalion was stationed here at Menda. They were tolerated with silent hatred. Meanwhile, the Marquis made plans which were to take effect on the night of the Feast of St. James. A ball was given at the castle, to which the French officers were invited and which they all attended. Unarmed, of course. No thought of danger, except perhaps the loss of a heart to some lovely senorita.
Your voice was divine. You are grace itself, senorita.
You are flattery personified. Nonsense, Carlos. A man can be handsome even if he is French.
Ah, these officers. And I shan't let them spoil this evening for me.
Oh, it is a lovely party, isn't it? The music is thrilling.
Close the door, Benito. I would have quiet.
See, Father.
Good. The hour is near at hand for our triumph over these invaders. I sent for you, my sons, to make sure all was in readiness. Juanito, the signal fire is built?
Yes, Father. And we had news from the town. Our people are plying the French with wine and making holiday until the beacon fire is lit. And then, death. Not one will escape.
That is my plan. English ships are waiting off the coast at this very moment.
The English fleet? Oh, I see. That old orange seller who came here was really a spy.
Yes, my boy, a clever spy. From the ministry in London.
Then we shall soon be rid of this puppet king the Corsican Bonaparte has set up.
Why have you left our guests, Marchesa?
Oh, Juan, you and our sons should join them, or they may suspect. It's nearly supper time, and you have said that when the ladies were all in the salon and the men gathered in the banquet hall, you'd... Oh, I'm so afraid, Juan. Afraid for you, Felipe, darling, and for you, Juanito, my eldest born.
Nonsense, Mamma Mia. There is no danger for us.
Nevertheless, I fear something may go wrong. I tremble at the thought of what this night may bring.
This night will bring freedom from the invaders, restoration for our king. And you tremble? Are you not a true daughter of Spain?
Yes, my husband.
Then we will speak no more of fear. Juanito, are you sure that every French officer is here tonight?
Yes, Father. Dancing with carefree gaiety.
Foolish flies that will die in this old spider's web. The men servants know what they must do?
Each one is armed, and each will deal with the Frenchmen. They do not leave their sides.
They must be silent and swift. I hold you, Juanito, responsible for the death of the commandant, Victor Marchand.
Oh, poor lad. He has such charming manners. I've just seen him walk out on the terrace with our Clara.
What insolence.
Ever since he came to the town, my sister Clara has cast wistful eyes at him. She seems to admire his undoubted good looks.
Small wonder if he's madly in love with her. Clara is so beautiful. What a pair they make dancing together.
Enough such talk revolts me. My daughter and this riff-raff officer of our enemy. Juanito, fetch her to me at once.
Yes, Father.
Come, Marchesa. We will join our guests.
Yes, Juan. Oh, the moon is lovely out here on the terrace. See how it shines on the sea way down there at the foot of the crags?
Yes, and look way out there. Those white things. They look like sails.
Oh, nonsense. They're seagulls. They nest in those cliffs.
And I thought it might be my ship coming in. Isn't the air sweet? Mimosa and orange blossoms, Donna Clara.
Yes, orange blossoms, Commandant, and cypress trees.
The night is cool. It was hot down there today in the little town of yours. I was tired of military regulations and duties.
Why, Victor Marchand, you were weary of serving your great Napoleon. Shame.
I would die fighting for my emperor. But this business of being a policeman is hard. You all hate us French so.
We Spaniards do not hate all Frenchmen.
Oh, Clara, you are so beautiful. I do love you so. Is there any chance that you would marry me?
In other days, in other circumstances, who knows? But there is no hope, Victor, here and now. You are my enemy.
I am your adoring slave. But I am a fool to dream. You are the blue blood of Spain, while my father is a grocer of Paris.
A grocer of Paris? Is that a title of rank?
Yes, the rank of file, my beautiful princess. Wait. Look down below. I gave orders for all lights in the town to be out at curfew. And yet it strikes me that there are a fair number gleaming here and there.
Oh, it's only the moonlight on the bayonets of your own men.
Well, it's certainly silent enough. I don't know why I should feel uneasy. Your father, the Marquis, is the soul of courtesy. And yet I keep asking myself why. Why should he give this dance for the officers of his enemy?
Well, you're imagining things. My father is the friendliest of men.
All of us here unarmed. I think I shall order them to leave now.
Victor, forget these morbid fancies. Of what are you afraid? Of me?
Yes, senorita. I am afraid of you. Oh, my lovely Wanda.
Clara, where are you?
Oh, Juanito, I'm right here by the balustrade with Commandant Marchand.
Father wants you, sister. Lovely evening, Commandant.
Beautiful, Senora. Shall I take you back, Donna Clara?
Thank you, Commandant. I shall escort my sister.
Oh, Juanito, it's so cool out here. Wait a while.
This is not the time for you to be on the terrace, Clara.
Oh, the time. Oh, come with us, Commandant.
Father wishes to see you alone, Clara.
But
Perhaps it would be better if you waited here, Commandant, in the moonlight. I shall be right back to relieve your loneliness.
As you say, Senor. A bientôt, Donna Clara.
Adios, Victor.
Is that you, Commandant Victor?
Yes, what is it?
I'm lucky to find you, sir. Those beggars down there are creeping about like worms.
I knew I saw those lights.
So by your leave, I came up the cliff path to find you.
Come, climb up here over the balustrade.
Wait.
So. Now, go on, man.
Well, sir, you know that they have treated us like scum. But since sundown tonight, they're sticking to us like leeches, saying it's the feast of St. James and we ought all to be friends.
Very strange.
Suspicious, sir. I say to myself, there is something up. They mean us no good. Then on my way here, I see a pile of logs and kindling, sir, over that point yonder.
Well?
Then just now, as I hurried on quiet as I could, I saw a man come out of the castle with a torch and head straight for the bonfire.
A bonfire? A signal? I thought so. Look over there on the ocean. There, in the moonlight.
Wait.
They're ships. The sails of ships. It must be the English fleet.
He's lit the signal. Look, it's flaring up into the sky. Commandant, I'm shot. I'm done for. That shot was meant for you. Save yourself, sir. Long live the Emperor.
My officers, where are they? François, Bouchard.
Victor, fly. My brothers are coming to kill you.
But my fellow officers, I must help them. Let me by.
You can do them no good now.
Killed, all killed?
Yes, Victor, every Frenchman. So save yourself. Take the left path at the foot of the cliff, and my brother's pony. But go, Victor, hurry. Hurry.
Myra, what are you doing here?
Oh,
Where's the commandant?
I tried to stop him when I held him as long as I could, but he pushed past me and left the wall.
I'll get him.
No, he went that way to the right.
Did you see the French dog?
Father.
Bonito, Felipe, follow him. Not one of them must live. We'll get him.
Let just one of them live, dear Lord. Oh, Victor. My Victor.
Yes, my son, Victor Marchand escaped. And as I found out afterwards, rode straight to the headquarters of the French general and told him the fate of his battalion.
That is all I know of the treacherous attack, mon général. My men were stabbed to death and shot down like cattle. The blame is all mine. I put my life in your hands.
Commandant Marchand, you are not answerable for the Spaniards' crime. And unless the Marshal decides otherwise, I acquit you.
But when the Emperor comes to hear of it...
The Emperor? He will want you shot. But we shall see. Now, we will say no more about this, except to plan a revenge that will strike proper terror into this God-forsaken country where they carry on war like savages. I shall order out a whole regiment, a detachment of cavalry, and a convoy of artillery. We shall tell our soldiers the fate of their comrades, and their rage will do the rest.
Attention!
Reverend Abbot, I can imagine the horrible vengeance they brought to the countryside.
Yes, my son. Every village they passed was burnt, and the inhabitants decimated.
Didn't the English land soldiers to help?
No, Brother Leo. It seems they were only artillery transports that appeared that night, and so the townsmen of Menda were left without assistance, and soon found themselves surrounded by French troops.
Silence! Silence! Citizens, dogs of Menda, for your savage crime against innocent men, your town will be given over to the flame, your population to the sword.
One moment, General.
And who are you, sir?
I am the Marquis of Legagnac, hereditary lord of this province. I alone take the blame for the slaying of the French garrison.
Nay, Marquis, I was with you.
And I...
I speak for these noble friends of mine, do I not?
Yes.
Then, General, We of the castle offer to give ourselves if we can thus spare our town from pillage and fire. Every soul in the castle, from myself to my lowest servant, in exchange for the lives of my townsfolk.
No, that sounds reasonable. There will be a heavy tribute levied, however. We will hold your wealthiest citizens hostage to guarantee payment. Commandant Marchand.
Oui, mon général.
Take every precaution for the safety of the troops. Bivouac them. No more billeting with these swine. I shall now take residence in the castle. Have the Lagagnier family and all their household bound and placed so they can see me enter as their conqueror.
And you, Reverend Father, during this time, where were you?
Held prisoner as hostage. I thought at any moment that, though innocent, I should be shot. I soon heard that the general had ordered gibbets erected at the castle and had sent for the public hangman. I learned later of the Marquis's last appeal to the general, who had established headquarters at the castle.
What is it now? Come in.
It is I, Victor Marchand.
Oh, you.
Oui, mon général. The Marquis has a request to make of you, and I could not refuse to bring him to you.
Let him enter. So, you have a request, Marquis.
Yes, General. I have seen the gallows erected. Will you not spare us the shame of this punishment? I entreat you to have us beheaded.
Granted.
Further, I beg for the consolation of religion, and that we, especially my wife, may be unbound. I give my word we shall not escape.
All that I permit. But, Marchand, you are responsible for them.
Entendu, mon général.
And lastly, I offer you all I possess, if you will spare my youngest son, Manuel. He is only 8 years old. He knew nothing of this.
Really? Wait. I understand what you mean by this last request. To hand down your name to posterity. Very good. You shall do so. I will give your fortune and his life to any one of your sons who will play executioner to you and the rest of your brood.
Merciful heaven. Such a thing cannot be.
Yes. Let him hand down your name to posterity, but wherever it is mentioned, all Spain shall remember his parricide and despise him for it.
General, in the name of my 3 sons, I absolutely refuse this infamous offer.
No, not so fast, Marquis. You have intrigued me by your request. I am reconsidering my former kindness toward Menda. It rather pleases me to be the instrument, shall we say, whereby an old Spanish family is carried on. We French love titles. Our emperor has taught us their value. So, here is my final word, and you really should like it. Safety and well-being for Menda and its citizens, provided you agree to die.
I have so agreed.
Wait. Provided you agree to die by the hand of one of your own sons, who shall, by acting as executioner to his family, gain your title and estates.
Not one of them will consent.
No. Not even when they hear that unless one of them performs this friendly family service, all Menda shall be burned to the ground and every one of the citizens slaughtered.
Oh, you are Satan incarnate.
Oh, no. But I do think Satan is laughing at your predicament. Enough. We will talk no more about it. Your fortune and his life to any one of your brats who will do this executioner's office. Take him away, Marchand. Unbind the noble family, but guard them well. Now you will pardon me, Marquis. My dinner is ready.
I was sent for and taken to the castle. There, under French guard, sat the Marquesa with her sons and her daughter tied in gilded chairs. The serving men stood with bound hands. Victor Marchand returned with the Marquis. They all looked up at him, but there was no fear in their eyes. All I could see was profound regret that their plan had failed so completely. Victor Marchand gave orders that they should be unbound, and he himself untied the cords that bound Clara's arms.
Donna Clara, my darling, there was nothing I could do.
But the General, Victor, what did he say?
His verdict is too cold to speak aloud. Let me whisper it to you, and you can then help your father, for he will need your help. Now come with me.
One, there is hope for us, isn't there? The priest is here, and they have taken the cords from our wrists.
One of my brothers. Oh, Victor, no. No! Father. Oh, Father. Bid Juanito swear to obey the command you shall give him. And we shall be content.
Clara, my Clara.
Marquis, you submit to the general's ruling?
I have no choice, Commandant.
Then I shall dismiss the guard. Attention! You will take these servitors to their fate and await me on the terrace.
We are alone now, my husband. What is this order you are to give to Juanito? What is the general's ruling?
The town and its inhabitants are to be destroyed unless we die.
I know.
Unless we are beheaded by the hand of one of our sons.
One of my sons. Santa Maria, no.
And now you know the command I must give. And I give it to you, Juanito.
Father. No, you cannot. Dear Juanito, you must not fail us. Do not compel us to submit to the fateful touch of the common hangman. At your hands we will not fear to die.
No.
Think of Menda, Juanito. The town we have loved since we were born. Menda and Flames and all its people are people dead. Why, they are our friends. You can't sacrifice them to your own feelings.
Juanito, my darling. My firstborn child. You will consent, I know.
Mother. You ask this? You? My mother?
Since the day you were born, you have never failed me, Juanito. You are a true Leganez.
I refuse to be condemned to live.
Lito, I command you.
No, I can't do it.
See that you lack the fortitude of a Spaniard.
No, I can't.
And true responsibility to your people, my son.
No, I can't
Do you mean to keep us on our knees? What right have you to think of your own life and your own sufferings? Is this my son, madame?
He has consented. Am I right, Juanito?
Oh, Madre mia.
During the next tragic hour, I did what I could to give them spiritual consolation and prepare their souls for life eternal. The general had ordered that the principal citizens of Menda be brought to the terrace where stood the block, the blade of its scimitar glittering in the sun. Then suddenly in the anteroom where the Marquis and his family were preparing for the ordeal, the general appeared.
Well, I have dined and wined, so let us get this business over with. Bring the executioner Leganez to the block. Instruct him in his family duties. The crowd on the terrace is waiting impatiently.
Our time has come, Juanito. Be merciful to my lack of courage. Take me first.
Clara, my beloved, the general grants you your life if you will consent to marry me.
Oh, Victor. There is no love without honor. And my duty is to my family. Our love was or might have been. Adios, Victor. And now, Juanito, dear brother, Pax Vobiscum, I am ready.
Dear sister, let Felipe go with you.
Juanito, my brother, I have always loved you and honored you, but never more than now. Farewell.
God keep you both.
Farewell, big brother. You'll tell me what I must do? Will it hurt very much?
Manuel, little Manuel, you're so young to die. Oh, you're crying.
I'm not afraid. I'm thinking of you, poor Juanito. You'll be so lonely when we're gone.
Pray for me, little brother. Farewell.
We shall meet, my dearly beloved son. Your mother is proud of you.
Mother. My mother.
Give me your hand, my son. You do great honor to our name. Let us walk together to our fate. Lean on Father Miguel, my son. He will give you courage from heaven. Here we are. Let me embrace you. And with my kiss proclaim, Spaniards, I have given my son a father's blessing. The new Marquis de Leganés may strike without fear. He is beyond reproach.
Dies irae, calamitatis et miserere, Deus maga, requiem ternem, dona Deo menia, agno Dei, dictata mundi miserere. And so, my son, my daily prayers are for that heroic soul who for 30 long years has waited for the day when he may join the shades that never cease to haunt him.
From the time-worn pages of the past, we have brought you the story, The Executioner. Bellkeeper, toll the bell.
It's here now. New 98 Super Premium at the red, white, and blue Ingram sign. Power plus economy at your friendly Ingram oil dealers now. Here's a man that really appreciates that new Ingram power.
Take a tip from me, Harlan Hill up the Chicago Bears. I'm a professional plastic saver, and the red, white, and blue Ingram disc is the best catch I ever made. You can get Ingram's new 98 Super Premium gasoline at your friendly Ingram dealers today. This is another forward step by Ingram, a company that is producing for the present and planning for the future. Remember, you get power plus economy when you fill your car with Ingram's new 98 Super Premium. Watch for the Ingram sign.
Get more gold for your dough with Ingram's new 98 Super Premium at the white Ingram pump with the red top. Get Ingram 98 Platinum Treated Gasoline at these friendly Ingram dealers.
Stay tuned to HOJO Radio.
Out of the past, phantoms of a world gone by, speak again the immortal tale, Rappaccini's Daughter.
Good evening, Signora.
Good evening, Signor.
I have come from the southern part of Italy to study at the University of Padua. I was passing your house and thought you might have a room to let.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. My rooms are all rented.
Oh, but what shall I do? I was sure you would help me. Well, when I first saw the crest there above the door...
The crest? Why, do you know it?
It's the armorial bearing of my family, and this was my great-grandfather's house, Signora. I've often heard my grandmother speak of it.
Oh, then your name must be Guasconti.
Giovanni Guasconti, Signora. I should be grateful for your help.
Well, I really do not have a room to rent, Signor. There are so many students in Padua, but...
Yes?
I was just thinking of the room on the east side of the house. Long ago I closed it up, but perhaps for one night.
Oh, it's very kind of you.
Come along, I'll show it to you. Follow me up the stairs.
Do you not rent it, Signora, because it is so small, perhaps?
Oh, no. The room is quite large. But it's the only one in the house that has an eastern exposure.
But who could object to the morning sun?
Oh, it isn't the sun, Signor.
Then what?
You will see for yourself in a moment. There.
What? Why, it's a beautiful room, Signora, and how sweet the air is. Do you keep flowers here?
There's a garden outside below the window. Here, I'll show you.
Oh.
Peep through the shutters. The moon's quite bright tonight.
Oh, that's a beautiful place. Thousands of flowers. And the wall around it is high. This is a strange thing, Signora.
It is indeed, it is.
No, not the garden. You know how sometimes you experience something that seems to have happened before?
Little things you do or see.
I have stood here before and looked out at such a garden. But before, a beautiful girl was on that path tending the flower. Look, there she is.
Signor, come away. It is she, the doctor's daughter.
Ah, how beautiful she is. Just as I remembered.
It is not good to look upon her.
Oh, look, she's seen us. And there's a man. A tall, gaunt-looking man standing in the shadows.
It's he, the doctor. I'm afraid. There's something about both Dr. Rappaccini and his daughter I don't understand. Something evil.
Oh, but Signora.
The way he looked at you. Oh, I could not let you stay here.
Oh, of course you will. There's nothing to fear.
Oh, but the sweet smell of the flowers is so strong. It makes one grow faint.
Who is he, this Dr. Rappaccini?
No one in Padua knows anything about him, except that he lives alone with his daughter who tends the garden for him. It is said that he distills the plants into medicines potent as a charm. Now, come.
You will let me stay, Signora, if only for the night. Say you will.
But, Signor...
Would you send me away when I have no place to go?
I should never have suggested this room.
I promise you no harm will come of it. There, now, let me see you smile again, and say I may stay the night.
But tomorrow you must find another place. Promise me that, too.
I promise.
Then I'll fetch your sheets. I'll be back in a moment.
Signorina Rappaccini.
Who is it that calls?
Up here in the window.
What is it, Signor?
Your flowers sparkle like gems in the moonlight. It is the most beautiful garden I've ever seen.
Thank you, Signor.
Perhaps someday you'll honor me with a gift of one of the blossoms.
My father prizes them highly. But perhaps he would consent to the gift of one someday. Good night to you, Signor.
Good night, beautiful lady.
So, my young pupil has become acquainted with the daughter of Rappaccini. This is startling news.
But, Signor Baglioni, why do you frown so? You were as bad as Dame Lisabetta, my landlady. I've lived in her house for a week now, and every day she threatens to send me away.
This garden, Giovanni, what is it like?
Ah, almost as beautiful as Beatrice herself, Professor. The plants are lush, and the blossoms very, very large. Some of them have all the colors of the rainbow. But there is one, the most beautiful of all, that grows in a huge urn in the center of an ancient fountain. Its leaves are bright green and very large, and its flowers purple and red. In the sunlight they sparkle, and at night time they catch the rays of the moon and glimmer like diamonds covered with dew.
Giovanni, you are the son of my old friend, and I must tell you this. Move away from the garden this very night.
But why? Why is everybody so frightened of Dr. Rappaccini?
In Padua, Giovanni, there are certain grave objections to his professional character.
What are they?
It is said that he cares infinitely more for science than for mankind, that his patients are only subjects for new experiments. He would sacrifice human life for even a mustard seed of knowledge.
Oh, there aren't many men capable of so spiritual a love of science.
Heaven forbid. And they also say that he has instructed his daughter deeply in his science. So you see, she is as dangerous as he.
Oh, it is only malicious gossip, believe me, Signor. Almost every night I've spoken with Beatrice from my window, and she's as charmingly feminine as she is beautiful.
Ah, youth is as heedless as the arrow of love itself. Giovanni, you are not leaving.
I must, Professor Baglioni. Thank you for the dinner and the wine.
But the evening's just begun.
You see, every night she comes to the garden now. And I wouldn't miss seeing her, Professor. Not for all the flowers in the whole wide world. Goodbye. Thanks again.
But I have not told you what... students, they will never listen. And he jeopardizes his very life.
Oh, Signora, I'm glad you've come at last.
Why, Elisabetta, what's the matter? What's happened?
He came here to this house.
What?
Oh, I tell you, I've been fair shaking with fright, thinking of it.
But who?
The knocker sounded, late this afternoon it was, and I went to the door, not even faintly suspecting, and the saints preserve us, Signor, there he stood.
Elisabetta, calm yourself. Now, what is this?
He came here to ask for you, Dr. Rappaccini himself.
Oh, now, Elisabetta, don't tell me you let the old doctor frighten you. Tell me what he said.
15 years I've lived in this house, all of 15, and I never noticed it was there. Never even suspected it was there. Signor, I must have my room. You cannot stay here another minute. I will not allow it.
All right, Elisabetta, but what is it you never suspected?
The door, Signor. The secret door to the garden.
Where?
At the back of the large closet under the stairs.
But what did the doctor say, Elisabetta?
Oh, He said, oh, but, Signor, you won't do it. Promise you won't do it. The whole thing frightens me half to death.
What did he say?
He asked me to give you his invitation to visit the garden tonight.
Tonight? Ah, it's what I've been waiting for, Elisabetta. Come, show me the door.
No, come back, Signor. You must not go there.
Is this the closet?
Yes, Signor, but...
Now, where is the secret door, Elisabetta?
Oh, I shall never forgive myself for this. There, in the far wall. Don't you see?
But... Oh, yes, of course. Thanks, Elisabetta.
The saints preserve you, keep you from harm.
Good evening, Signor. You did come. My father said you would.
I've been wanting to since that first night, when I spoke to you from the window there.
Please, then, sit here on the marble bench.
Indeed, your garden is magical in the light of the moon. How brightly the flowers shine. Do you tend them all?
All that you see, except the most wonderful one of all. It grows yonder in the center of the fountain.
I have admired it greatly. Is that one, then, your father's special prize?
It is the most magical of all, Signor, and he watches over it himself.
How sweet the air is. I can smell the fragrance of your flowers, in my room.
Can you? They are such wonderful flowers, Signor. Their fragrance is as intoxicating as wine.
I have breathed deeply of this wine, Signorina Beatrice, because it is yours. Knowing you were here has made me a happy man.
And I have felt it, too. As if from that first night you spoke, I knew you from somewhere long ago.
It was in a dream once.
Did you know it would become real someday?
No, I could not hope for it.
I, too, once saw you high in the window there, looking down and saying what you said to me. Later, in a vision in my mind, you came to the garden, even as tonight.
Beatrice, you must know I love you with all my heart.
And I, since first we met in the stillness of my dreams. Giovanni, here, a flower from my garden, a token of my love.
Beatrice.
What?
I am here, Father, with Signor Guasconti.
Let me ask your hand, Beatrice. Tonight, let us be married soon.
If you wish, Giovanni. Look, here he comes.
Good evening, Senor.
Good evening, sir.
We have never met, but I believe we are acquainted.
Often I have seen you here in the garden. Thank you for inviting me this evening.
My daughter expressed an especial wish to see you, and I was not adverse to it.
Then, Dr. Rappaccini, perhaps it's best now to say that I am in love with Beatrice. With her consent and yours, we will be married.
Married? What does my daughter say?
I will gladly consent.
Oh, but both of you, so young, and your acquaintanceship is brief. Senor, that flower, you hold it in your hand.
I gave the blossom to him, Father.
Does its fragrance not stun you, Senor, and the feel of it burn your fingers?
No, but why do you ask?
Only because it is one of my most potent blossoms. I see you are more ready for the betrothal than I thought. You have my consent. Later I'll talk further to you both. Now, good night. But, Senor, I must make one request.
I am too happy to refuse you anything.
You'll think it strange, perhaps. When you leave the garden, return the flower to my daughter. It is too precious a blossom to part with. Good night again.
Oh, Professor Baglioni, what a surprise finding you here in my room.
I came directly. You left me at the restaurant, Giovanni. Dame Elisabetta told me you were in the garden.
Yes, and Professor, the most wonderful thing...
Giovanni, wait. I know what it is. But it cannot be, I tell you. Listen, let me tell you a story. Hundreds of years ago, Alexander the Great fell in love with a beautiful Indian girl. She was as lovely as the dawn, and her breath was richer than a garden of Persian roses. Before they were married, a sage physician luckily discovered a terrible secret in regard to her.
And what was that?
This lovely woman had been nourished with poisons from her birth, until her whole nature was so imbued with them that she herself had become the deadliest poison in existence. Poison was her element of life. With the rich perfume of her breath, she blasted the very air. Her love would have been poison. Her embrace, death.
But why do you tell this to me now?
It is my way of saying that this Beatrice Rappaccini endangers your life.
Professor, you can't believe...
I do believe it. I know. Even now your room is filled with a strong, poisonous perfume.
But that is the garden. I noticed it too at first, but one grows accustomed to it.
Giovanni, my poor boy, don't you see? Dr. Rappaccini has selected you as the material for some new experiment, just as he has used his daughter. Even now, your very breath is heavy with the fragrance of that terrible place.
No, you're wrong.
Look, I have brought with me a bouquet of yellow rosebuds. They are there on the table. Giovanni, pick them up.
No, I won't touch them.
Giovanni, do as I say. Take them in your hand.
But all this is mad. What would a few rosebuds... Look at them.
See, your very touch withers the leaves and turns the yellow petals brown. Giovanni, you are imbued with the poison of the garden, even as she. I beg of you, leave here this very night, now. Go before it is too late.
No, I can't. Oh, Professor, help me, I beg you.
No, go back. Do not come near me. Stay back. Your very touch is poison. You must go away from all this quickly, Giovanni.
I can't. I love her too much. I could not live without her.
Giovanni, you are imbued with the poison of the garden, even as she. I beg of you, leave her this very night. Now, go before it is too late.
No, I can't. Oh, Professor, help me, I beg you.
No, go back. Do not come near me. Stay back. Your very touch is poison. You must go away from all this. Quickly, Giovanni.
I can't. I love her too much. I could not live without her.
Then you shall surely die. Already the fumes of the flowers have impregnated you with that poison. And that devil Rappaccini is making ready even now to use you to carry on his atrocious experiment.
You're lying. I don't believe you.
Oh, my poor boy, what reason would I have for lying? I am trying to help you.
She doesn't know, I'm sure of it.
Doesn't know what?
About the poison, that she's permeated with it.
Of course she knows. Isn't Beatrice Rappaccini almost as renowned a scientist as her father? I tell you, Giovanni, you must not see her again. Ever. You must leave this place. My carriage is outside. We can drive to my villa by midnight. Come now, before it is too late.
How could Beatrice have done this to me? Professor Baglioni, I couldn't go without knowing, without some word from her.
You would see her again. Oh, my boy, no.
But I must, don't you see? I've got to know. Listen, help me, Professor. There's a moth on the window curtain. Capture it in this glass tumbler and cover it with a napkin.
But why? What can a moth...
I want to prove what you've told me. I could never be content without knowing the truth. Here, take the tumbler. Don't let the moth escape.
Well, I do not understand. Giovanni, this is mad.
There it is. Cover the glass with a napkin.
All right. There, it is done.
Now, where is your carriage?
It is just outside on the street.
Will you wait there for me?
Yes, if you wish. But I still don't understand.
And wake Dame Lisabetta. Ask her to wait in the carriage with you.
What are you planning to do?
To find out the truth.
Giovanni, you are going to the garden?
Yes, Professor. I'm going to the garden.
Giovanni, it's you.
Beatrice, my darling. Come out in the light of the moon. There's something I must tell you.
I was frightened for a moment seeing your dark shadow against my window. Has something happened, Giovanni?
Come out in the garden with me, and I'll tell you. Is your father awake?
I don't know. I don't think he is.
Stand with me here, where the moonlight's brightest. Beatrice, I want you to know that I love you more than my life. I want you to believe me.
I do, Giovanni. But what is that you carry in your hand?
Only a tumbler. Inside is a moth. See how he flutters his wings inside the glass. Beatrice, hold out your hand.
Why, Giovanni?
I want you to take the moth in your fingers and watch it closely. Here, don't let it fly away.
No, I shan't. Oh, how he struggles. Is he a very special moth of some rare species? Giovanni, look. What's the matter with him? I believe he's dead.
Yes, he is dead.
What a shame. He was a prisoner too long.
No, that isn't the reason, Beatrice. Oh, my darling, you've been ignorant of the poison. I knew you were.
Poison? What do you mean?
Do you love me enough, Beatrice, to trust me completely? Do you? Say you do.
I do, Giovanni, of course.
Then there's no time to lose. I want you to go away with me now, tonight.
Go away? Why?
Because this garden is a tomb filled with the perfume of death. Beatrice, these flowers are deadly. They're filled with the most potent poison in the world. Even now, your veins run with noxious blood. Your very touch is death to any living thing.
Giovanni, what are you saying?
I speak the truth, Beatrice. And heaven help us both. For now my body, too, has gained your power. And I am nourished by the poison of your garden.
You mean... Oh, it is my father's fatal science. He has united us in this fearful sympathy.
Beatrice!
Giovanni, he's seen us here.
Don't be afraid, my darling.
The hour grows close to midnight, and tomorrow there is much to do. Oh, you are not alone, I see.
Father, there's something you must know. Giovanni has come to take me away.
What? Well, you are jesting. We will talk tomorrow of your marriage.
Beatrice will not be here tomorrow, Dr. Rappaccini.
What is this? Some madness of the moonlight?
Giovanni has told me of the garden, and it's poisoned.
And he has also poisoned your mind against me.
No, it is not that.
Then what is there to fear? The flowers will not harm either of you now. My science makes you both stand apart from common men.
But why? Why did you inflict this thing upon your child?
Inflict? Can you use such a word when you can quell the mightiest enemy with a breath? A power as terrible as you are beautiful.
Beatrice, come, quickly now.
No, you cannot take her away. Beatrice, come back!
Giovanni, where are we going?
A carriage is waiting on the street outside.
You young fool, you don't know what you are doing. Come back! Come back!
Here is the stairway to the secret door.
We won't be sorry, Giovanni, will we? Tell me we won't be sorry.
Of course we won't, my darling. Come, they're waiting for us.
Giovanni, what madness to bring that girl with you like this.
I would never have come without her, Professor. Dame Lisabetta, let me have your shawl for Beatrice. The air is cold.
Oh, the poor child, what she must have suffered. Here it is.
Don't touch her, Lisabetta. No good will come of this, I know it.
Here, Beatrice, around your shoulders.
Where are we going?
To my villa, just outside Padua. You understand, my child, it is not that I mean to be unkind, but this thing is beyond our understanding.
You need not fear, senor. We will not come near you.
How beautiful she is, and to think her own father...
It will be different now. Wait and see. Before many days have passed, the poison will ebb away, and we'll be like anybody else, freed from that terrible place.
The air is so different here. So stale.
It's God's own air, Beatrice. It's our life. Breathe it deeply.
Giovanni, I'm afraid...
Oh, my darling, these are our friends.
But the air, it's so hard to breathe the air. Giovanni, hold me. Hold me close. I'm afraid. I'm afraid.
Professor Baglioni, how is she?
I don't know. Lisabetta is at her bedside. This frightens me, Giovanni.
But it's been 5 hours since we arrived. I can't bear for her to suffer.
Giovanni, look at me. Oh, how pale you are, how quick your breath is.
I'm all right.
You're not all right. Come, my friend, rest a little.
No. I've got something to do for her.
That's the air, the unpoisoned air. It suffocates her. There's nothing we can do. Nothing.
There must be something. I'm going into her. Dame Lisabetta, how is she?
Oh, Signor, she is not well. If I could only comfort her a little.
Beatrice, forgive me for taking you away.
I wanted to come, Giovanni. I want to be with you.
Oh, my darling, if I had known.
You too can feel it. I see the terror in your eyes. It's the garden, Giovanni. We miss the garden.
I know we do.
But I never want to go back. Never again. I'd rather die than go back to the garden.
Signor, do you think... Oh, that's it.
What, Lisabetta?
The garden. It's her very life. There she can live.
No, I won't go back.
Don't you see? There in the garden is the drugged air that keeps her alive.
I know it is. I know. I can feel the need of it, too. My lungs burn with the need of it.
Then go back before it's too late. You will die here, don't you see? Both of you.
Lisabetta's right, Beatrice. And there's something else. Why did I never think of it before? Come, I'll take you in my arms to the carriage. There's no help for it. We must go back to the garden. Dr. Rappaccini! Dr. Rappaccini! We've come back.
Beatrice! Senor, you have killed her.
No, she is not dead.
Lay her here beside the fountain. Oh, my child, what has he done to you?
We are both addicted to your poison, Doctor. We cannot live without it.
Quick, break off a flower. Drop some of the dew upon her lips.
Yeah. Beatrice, my darling, taste of the flower's dew. Here.
Drink some of it yourself, senor. It is magic. It will give you strength.
Giovanni, you have brought me back again.
I could not see you die, my Beatrice. Here, taste of the dew again.
Oh, look, she breathes easily. The color returns to her cheeks.
The air is sweet in my lungs. Giovanni, forgive me for loving you. Now we must both stay here in the garden forever.
Lie still, my darling.
Now you know the power of my science. You see how foolish it is to cross me.
I am not convinced, Dr. Rappaccini. You are a devil, and I mean to find out the secret of your immunity.
What are you saying?
I know now why it is you never touch these plants. You do have a secret of immunity from the vile curse which the perfume of this garden inflicts upon those who breathe it too long.
I will not listen to this.
You would sacrifice your daughter to tend these poisonous things, because if you were to remain here too long, you would become infected too, just as we have.
Senor, you will leave this garden.
I will not leave before I know. And you will tell me, Dr. Rappaccini, what your secret is. I will know the secret. I will know the antidote.
Get away from me. Your breath is sudden death.
Yes, it is, and so is my touch. While you are still uncontaminated by the perfume, your life is at the mercy of those whom it has infected. Is it not? Your temporary immunity has become your curse, has it not, Doctor?
Stop! Let go! Let go!
Mother and Doctor, in the poison of your own contriving.
Let me go! Let me go!
Father! Giovanni, you're killing him! Father! Father! I too have touched him.
Stand back there, Trici. Look. He's dying.
What have we done? What have we done?
My children, forgive me. I am an old man, and my science to me was more precious than the miracle of life. I sought for the most powerful of drugs, and only now I have found it. What is stronger than the love in a man's heart?
My father, what can we do?
You can live your lives, my child, and walk as free as others do.
But how?
You are right, Giovanni. There is an antidote. Pluck one of its blossoms and drink of the liquid from its petals, even as I have drunk of it every day. Then you can leave the garden free.
Which plant, Doctor? Which is the antidote?
The purple blossoms in the center of the fountain. They are my antidote.
Father. My father.
There, Trici. Come, my darling. Leave him in his wonderful garden that he loved. He has given us our lives again.
From the time-worn pages of the past, we have brought you the story, Rappaccini's Daughter. Bellkeeper, toll the bell.
Sometimes when we're tired, we make mountains out of molehills. We putter around till even the easiest job seems impossible. Now, if you're that tired and pale besides, your doctor may find you have a borderline anemia, resulting from a ferronutritional blood deficiency. Then you need ironized yeast tablets. They help build up your strength by building up your red blood cells. So take ironized yeast tablets to get back your color, your vigor, your driving energy. Ironized yeast tablets.
Our next broadcast was one of the premier drama programs of the golden age of radio and was subtitled Radio's Outstanding Theater of Thrills and focused on suspense thriller-type scripts, usually featuring leading Hollywood actors of the era. Approximately 945 episodes were broadcast during its long run, and more than 900 still exist. The protagonist was usually a normal person suddenly dropped into a threatening or bizarre situation. Solutions were withheld until the last possible second, and evildoers were usually punished by the end. We present to you Suspense on HOJO Radio.
Again to introduce Columbia's program, Suspense. From Hollywood tonight, we bring you the noted British actor, Mr. Edmund Gwenn, the star of an unusual murder study by his distinguished compatriot, Miss Dorothy Sayers. The story called The Fountain Plays is tonight's tale of suspense. Currently appearing in the Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Technicolor production, Lassie Come Home, following such successes as Foreign Correspondent, From the stage plays The Wookiee and The Three Sisters, it is Mr. Gwen's particular pleasure to embody on the stage and the screen the eternal middle-class Englishman, the common man of Britain, and proud of it. The character Mr. Gwen portrays in our play tonight, Mr. Archibald Spiller, conservative John Bull that he may be, has lately had a bit of luck. Mr. Spiller lives on a little country estate with a cook and a manservant, and in the garden, yes, a fountain. Of all these little luxuries, it is the fountain which pleases him the most. An interesting sort of hobby for such a man. A fountain, perhaps more interesting than even Mr. Spiller himself realized at the beginning of that memorable evening. These events were really quite unusual, and with their publication, and with the performance of Mr. Edmund Gwen as Archie Spiller, we again hope to keep you in suspense. The Fountain plays.
Now then, Mr. Spiller, what about it?
Have a care of the fountain, Sam. Get wet if you stand too close.
Fountain? You and your blasted fountain, wasting your money on a doodad.
It's not expensive, Sam. It's very ingenious, really. Uses the same water over and over again, you see?
Don't try and put me off. What about it?
Well, I told you I'd talk to you about it later this evening.
Later. Well, I want to talk about it now. I want a straight answer to my question.
I've given you an answer.
You've given me nothing but bluff and bluster. Do I get it or don't I? That's what I want to know. And if I don't...
Please, my guests are arriving. I'll talk to you tonight.
You'd better talk straight, too. It'll be your last chance, my lad.
Hello there, everybody. You're just in time for a cocktail. Come in.
Master said we'd find you here, Daddy. I hope we're not interrupting.
Certainly not. You know Mr. Gooch, don't you, my dear?
Of course.
And this is my neighbor, Mrs. Digby, Mr. Gooch.
How do you do, Mr. Gooch?
And Ronald Proudfoot, my daughter's fiancé.
How do you do, sir? How do you do?
Do help yourselves, everybody. You'll find all the fixings right there on the stone settee. Betty, you play hostess, will you, dear?
All right, Dad.
I'll take mine neat.
I was just showing Mr. Gooch the wonders of my little fountain.
Oh, Daddy, you do make such a fuss over that fountain.
Oh, well, even so, I always say that there's nothing quite like a bit of ornamental water to set a place off.
Sort of like the Versailles Gardens, what?
Oh, it's really lovely, Mr. Spiller. And so secluded with the rhododendrons and the lilac hedge all around.
Ah, you like that, eh? Oh, you know, I was thinking of cutting out some of these lilacs.
Oh, I wouldn't.
Well, to make a vista, so to speak. You can't even see it from the house with these bushes on all four sides.
Well, now, perhaps that might add something.
But if you like the lilacs, Mrs. Digby, the lilacs shall stay.
Oh, Mr. Spiller. I'm no authority, I'm sure.
Well, if you want an authority, I'd say it's a mess. Plaster, backstop and all. A mess, see?
A mess?
Yes, a mess.
Oh, maybe Mr. Gooch means the way the backstop arches up above the stray. It rather overshadows it, you know.
Oh, have to have that, you know, my dear. Prevailing winds from the south. Blows the jet of water right out onto the grass. If it weren't for that backstop, I'd have a regular swamp over there. Wasteful, too.
Well, I'm glad I know that.
You always were a fool, Archie, squandering money on a fountain.
Oh, no, indeed. It uses the same water over and over again. Like the ones in Trafalgar Square, you know. It's most ingenious, really.
Why, isn't that a wonderful idea?
Well, I have to be careful, of course, even so. I turn it off every night to save leakage and waste and so on.
Same old Spiller. A proper miser, if ever there was one.
Oh, I say now, Mr. Spiller, sir.
Yeah?
The dinner is served.
What? Oh, thank you, Masters, thank you. Well, what do you say? Everybody ready for a bit of dinner, hey? We go in then, shall we? Come on, let's go in there. I got it. You can get some...
Why, Mr. Spiller, your modest little fountain. When you're past the bushes, why, all at once you can scarcely hear it at all.
Yes, quite impossible to hear it from the house. Can't hear it at all. Another glass of port. Won't you have one, eh? What is it, Masters?
Will that be all then, sir?
Yes, thank you, Masters, yes. Excellent dinner. My compliments to the cook, please.
Yes, sir.
And coffee in the drawing room.
Very good, sir.
Well, shall we adjourn?
Shall we what?
Adjourn. Going to the drawing room, what?
Quite a toff you've become, eh, Archie? Big change from the old days. Adjourned to the drawing room.
Yes. Well, we'll all have a spot of coffee now, eh?
Coffee? Is that the best you got to offer?
Oh, no, by no means. Have anything you like, old man.
That's better.
What would you think, Mr. Spiller, about a rubber or two of bridge?
Oh, excellent suggestion. Splendid.
Good thing I don't play, Archie? I see I'm counted out before we start.
Oh, Mr. Gooch, I'm so sorry. Do take my place. I'm really very tired.
No, thanks. We didn't play bridge where I come from, and neither did Archie. Although I see he picked it up quick enough once he got...
Well, it's never too late to learn, you know.
I got better ways than that to spend my time when I visit an old pal. Where's that fella Masters?
Was there something you wished, sir?
Take the whiskey and soda down by that fountain. Whiskey and moonlight and jolly old fountain. That's the proper way to spend an evening, eh, Millard?
Quite, sir.
Mind you bring the full decanter. One drink's only a starter for a chap like yours, truly.
Very good, sir.
While I'm at it, better take a few of these here Coronas. Only the best for your old pals, eh, Archie?
Yes.
See you folks later. See you later on.
Oh, Mr. Digby, shall it be you and me against the youngsters?
Daddy.
Eh? Yes, dear?
Will you tell me why you put up with that man?
Gooch? Oh, come, he's not a bad sort, really. Had a drop too much this evening, perhaps.
He always has a drop too much. And he is a bad sort. He's a rude, unpleasant, terrible man.
Well, old friend, you know, not much a chap can do.
Oh, Daddy, you're so soft-hearted. But if you can't do anything, I can.
Now, please, dear, please. He'll be gone in a day or two.
High time. What does he mean talking to you that way in your own home?
Shall we cut for deals?
Yes. Shall I,
Well, I don't care. You shan't put me off. This is the last time that man is going to come into this house.
There you are, game and rubber.
I guess the old folks aren't so slow after all, eh, partner? Now, don't get Daddy all puffed up. You did have all the cards.
Oh, not a bit of it. Jolly well played, sir.
Play one more?
Oh, I'm afraid not. I don't want to put a damper on the party, but it's 10:30.
My word, so it is. Last hour or so passed in no time.
Oh, that's probably Mr. Gooch.
Oh, wonder where he is.
I could guess.
He said he was going out by the fountain.
Dead to the world, that's what he is.
Why, Betty.
Oh, from drink, silly.
Oh, of course. Well, I'm not superstitious, you know, but...
Oh, Gooch will take care of himself, I dare say. Well, Mrs. Digby, if you really must...
I'm afraid I really must.
Well, then perhaps I can see you home.
Well, if it wouldn't be inconvenient.
Oh, not a bit of it. It's a pleasure I've been looking forward to all the evening.
Well, here we are.
Yes.
It's been such a lovely evening, Mr. Spiller.
Yeah, you know, I've been thinking... I'm awfully lucky to have found a neighbor like you. At my time of life, I mean.
Maybe it's not luck at all.
It's fate, you mean? Eh, Mrs. Digby? Or may I call you Rosalind?
Oh, of course.
And you call me Archibald, eh? Silly name, but it's the only one I've got there.
All right.
You know, it was true what I said tonight, that the place will be needing a new hostess soon.
With Betty getting married, you mean? You must be very happy for her.
Oh, I am. But what I mean is, that, well, we're both alone in the world now, and
yes?
Rosalind, there's something I want to talk to you about soon. I can't just now. There are arrangements I have to make, but I do want to talk to you very seriously.
Well, I'll always be here, you know. But it's late now.
Yes, it is. Well, good night, Rosalind. It has been a lovely evening.
Good night, Archibald.
Hello, Masters. Tell me, where's everybody?
Mr. Ronald left 5 or 10 minutes since, sir, and Miss Elizabeth has retired.
Oh, Well, has Mr. Gooch come in yet?
I couldn't say, sir. Shall I go to see?
No, never mind. You can cut along to bed now. I'll lock up.
Very good, sir.
Oh, by the way, Masters, is the fountain turned off?
Yes, sir. I turned it off myself at 10:30, seeing you were engaged.
Oh, fine. Well, good night, Masters.
Good night, sir.
Oh, hello there. Just coming out to look for you, Gooch.
Hello.
You have a nice evening?
A nice evening. Not as nice an evening as you had with the obliging little widow, eh?
No, that's enough of that now, Sam.
Oh, it is it? That's enough, is it? That's a good one. Do you think I am, talking to me like that? One of your ruddy servants? Well, I'm not. I'm the boss here. Get that into your head. I'm the boss, and you know it.
All right. But buzz off to bed now like a good fellow. It's getting late, and I'm tired.
Oh, no, you don't. Think I'm drunk, don't you? Well, I'm not drunk enough so I don't remember the little business I've got with you.
Well, can't we talk about it in the morning?
No. We'll talk about it right now. I'm short of cash. It's high time you kicked in with some more.
Now, look here, Sam. I pay you your allowance as we agreed, and you stay here whenever you like, but that's all.
Oh, it is it?
Yes.
Getting pretty high and mighty, aren't you, number 4132?
Sam, quiet, for heaven's sake.
You're in a fine spot to tell me what you're going to do, aren't you? Quiet, the servants, my dear. Quiet, Betty, my dear, or Ronald Fatdoodle, whatever his name is.
Sam, you're drunk.
Sure, I'm drunk. I'm not an escaped jailbird, am I? I'm not liable to be all back to work out 10 years odd labor for forgery, am I?
Sam, listen, I'll give you a little extra. Just this once.
When I think a man like me, that was only in for a short stretch anyway, worked it out all good and proper, dependent on the charity, mind you, of a pal what's rolling in wealth.
I'm not rolling in wealth, and you know it. But if you'll promise me, faithfully, that this is the last time...
Sure, I'll promise. For an old pearl, I'll promise anything. You just give me 5,000 down.
5,000?
That's right. I've got a great opportunity. All I need is a little ready cash.
Now, don't be an idiot, Sam. What do you think I'm going to lay hands on that much? Just like that. I'll give you a check for 500.
Oh, trying to renege on your old pal, eh? I said 5,000 and 5,000 it is, or you'll find yourself back on the rock pile, see?
I tell you, I haven't got it.
Haven't got it. You've got enough to go buying fancy fountains, playing around with the widow next door.
Now, you leave Mr. Digby out of this.
I'll leave her out of it, all right. I'll leave the old pastry to you.
What? I told you that was enough of that, and I meant it. Now, pull yourself together and go to bed. Go on. I'll talk to you in the morning. You hear me, Sam? Sam. Yeah, come on. I didn't hit you that hard, you know. Go on, get up on your feet now, Sam. Go on. Sam. Sam. Hit his head on the corner of the table. Phew. No blood. No, there it is, just over the temple. Soft. Spongy.
Mr. Gooch's fall had made quite a racket, too. Somebody must have heard it. They'd be calling out in a moment. Footsteps coming down to find out what's the matter. Have to think fast.
What was that? Oh, just the old clock. Nobody on this side of the house, anyway. Nobody could have heard.
Steady now and face the facts. He's dead. Murdered. Oh, it didn't feel like murder, but the police won't care about that. First off, they'll take fingerprints, and then...
If I could make him suspect somebody else, confuse him. An alibi. Yes, that's what's needed. An alibi. Make it seem he was alive when he was already dead. Yes. Yes, how do they do it in the stories? You dress up like the dead man and impersonate him. No, you imitate him, speaking over the phone, or... No, you make a gramophone record of his voice, or you forge a letter. Oh, no, forgery. No, I don't want to get mixed up in that old game again. No. Oh, wait a minute, though. The time.
The time. Earlier, not later. Say 10:30, while everyone was playing bridge. If he could have died sometime before that. But how to prove it? What happened at 10:30? 10:30. Think. Think.
The fountain.
The fountain. Yes, the fountain. Mr. Spiller went out to the French windows to the garden, then turned on the fountain, then down the garden path. Stopped and called a name. A name.
Sam! Gooch! Gooch!
Doing... careful with the flashlight. They can't hear the fountain from the house, but they can see that. There's the whiskey, still half full. Pour most of it out, so that it will look as though we had even more to drink. Now back to the house. That'll do. Now back into the house. Looked for him and didn't find him. It was dark. The moon had gone down. But from now on, quiet. Quiet as he is lying over there.
The wheelchair in the hall closet.
The wheelchair used to be Mrs. Spiller's. Remember how she... No, not time to think of that now. Just left him into it. Who'd have ever thought old Sam was so heavy? Now out the other door, but quietly this time. Down the back path. Carefully. Feel like running. Feel as though every window in the house were thronged with white, staring faces, watching. The manufacture of an alibi. Here we are. Now to lift him up again. There. Laying down on the edge of it. One hand in the water. The bruise on his head right up against the stone corner of the basin. There. What's that? He's alive. Gooch is alive. After all that trouble, after committing practically the perfect crime, he's alive. What? Bring him to life again? More blackmail for the rest of your life? What about Mrs. Digby? Rosalind? What about Betty? She at least deserves something better. Murder? All right, murder. He's dead already as far as the rest of the world is concerned. Now. Now or never. His face is right with the water's edge. Push him under. Now. Now. And so it's done. Remorse? Why remorse? Does the mouse feel remorse that the cat is killed? Does the prisoner feel remorse when he leaves his prison? No. No, it's done, and well done. Nothing left but the finishing touches now. Take back the wheelchair. Let the fountain run another hour, and then to bed. And when the police come in the morning, the perfect crime. Remorse? Nonsense. Congratulations would be more like it. Yes, congratulations, Mr. Spiller.
Inspector Frampton, sir.
Eh? Oh, yes. Come in, Inspector. Come in.
I hate to trouble you, Mr. Spiller. Regulations, you know.
Of course.
Everyone here who was present the night of that is, last night.
Yes, Inspector, yes. There's Mrs. Digby, my neighbor, my daughter Elizabeth, her fiancé, Mr. Ronald Proudfoot, and the servants, of course.
Excellent. Well, now, if you'll all bear with me,
I have to ask you all a few questions, you know.
But, Inspector, it wasn't...
That's what we have to find out. You know, there was a blow on the head.
Oh.
Now, as I understand it, the deceased was last seen alive at about 8:30, just after dinner. Let me see. You were the last to see him, eh, my man?
Yes, sir. I believe so, sir.
You took the whiskey and soda down to the fountain in the garden and left it there with Mr. Gooch. And that was the last time he was seen alive by any of you, eh?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
The four of you then played cards, I believe.
Yes.
Until what time?
Oh, about 10:30.
And no one left the room during those 2 hours?
No.
Then, Mr. Spiller, you accompanied Mrs. Digby to her home.
Yes.
Is that correct, Mrs. Digby?
Yes, Inspector.
Now, when you returned, you were met in the hall by Masters.
Yeah.
Now, what time was that, Masters?
About 10:45, sir.
And Mr. Spiller at that time inquired after Mr. Gooch?
Yes, sir. He asked if I had seen him, and as I had not, he suggested I might retire, that he himself would lock the house.
And the others had all left?
Yes, sir. That is to say, Mr. Ronald had left. I heard him drive off in his car, and Miss Elizabeth had retired.
Then you were alone in the downstairs part of the house. Is that so, Mr. Spiller?
Yes.
You tell me, please, what you did then?
Well, I was worried about Gooch. He'd been drinking quite a lot, and so I went to look for him. Went down to the end of the garden by the fountain.
You didn't go through the lilac hedge to the fountain?
No, it was dark by then. I couldn't see. I called Gooch several times.
Did anyone hear Mr. Spiller call?
Oh, I did, sir. I was half asleep, as you might say. But I did hear Mr. Spiller call out.
And then what did you do, Mr. Spiller?
I came back into the house. Sat up in the library, read for a while, and about 1 o'clock I went to bed.
Now, this is very important. Who turned off the fountain?
I did, sir.
At what time?
At 10:30, sir.
You're quite sure of that?
Yes, sir. It was the usual time.
I see. And no one would have turned it on again, of course?
I can't think why, sir.
Well, I think that makes everything very clear, Mr. Spiller.
Yes.
When the body was found, it was still wet from the spray of the fountain. Therefore, death must have occurred sometime before the fountain was turned off at 10:30. And as all of you here were occupied till then, from the time the deceased was last seen alive...
An accident, of course. I said so from the beginning.
Well, might have been either, you know. There had been a blow, and there was water in the lungs. Well, the man apparently fell due to his intoxicated condition, struck his head, falling into the water, from which he was unable to rescue himself.
Well, seems the obvious conclusion, doesn't it? Poor fellow.
Well, thanks, everyone. I don't think we shall have to trouble you again, Mr. Spiller.
Well, I hope not. And thank you, Inspector.
Of the coroner, Township of Alton, County of Hampshire, that in the case of the deceased Samuel Gooch, death was due solely to accidental causes.
Oh, Daddy, I'm so glad. I was afraid for a while.
Oh, there was nothing to be afraid of, dear. Poor old Gooch just lost his footing and fell, that's all.
I know. I was afraid of him.
Of him?
I know it was silly, but he was so strange. I thought he had some sort of hold over you.
Oh, nonsense. Darling, just an old friend. And I'm a sentimental old fool.
You're an old dear.
Oh.
But I've got to run now.
What, off with Ronald?
Uh-huh. Daddy, are you going to be awfully lonely when I've gone?
Oh, you know I'll miss you.
Maybe Mrs. Digby.
No, my girl.
Oh, she's such a darling.
She is rather nice, isn't she? In fact, I thought I might pop over to see her this afternoon, as long as you're going to be out.
Daddy, I knew it. I won't keep you another second. Ask her over to dinner.
Well, perhaps I shall. You be on time, though.
I will. Bye.
Bye.
Beg pardon, sir.
Huh? Oh, Masters, yes?
If it's convenient to you, sir, I should like to have my bedroom changed. I should like to sleep indoors in the main house.
Oh? Why that, Masters?
I'm a very light sleeper, sir, and noises keep me awake.
Noises?
The weather vane, sir, above the garage. When the wind changes, it creaks.
Well, a little oil perhaps would suit.
I hardly think that would do, sir. Because when the wind changes, there are other noises. They can be most disturbing, sir.
What? Other noises?
The fountain, sir.
Fountain?
Yes, sir. Ordinarily, I'm quite unable to hear it, any more than you can in the main house, sir. But when the wind is from the west, the plaster backstop acts quite like a sounding board in the direction of my room, sir. In fact, I can hear not only the fountain itself, but I can hear even the faintest noises in the grove around it quite clearly.
I see.
Quite, sir. For instance, on the night Mr. Gooch sustained his unfortunate accident, the wind changed a little after 11. The weather vane awakened me, and then I heard the fountain. I seem to hear other noises, too, if I may say so, sir.
You heard?
Yes, sir. I might add that after hearing the police inspector's observations, I took the precaution of pressing your dinner jacket. The sleeve seemed quite wet, sir.
Yes.
I think, sir, all things taken into consideration, you might find it worth your while to retain me permanently in your service at, shall we say, double my present wage for now.
Eh? Oh, yes, of course.
I'm very much obliged to you, sir. Is there anything else, sir?
No, nothing else. I'm going to sit here by the fountain. Very ingenious. The fountain. Yes. Most ingenious, my fountain. Costs so little to run because it uses the same water over and over again. Over and over again. Over and over again.
So closes The Fountain Plays, starring Edmund Gwenn, and the Dorothy Sayers story, which was tonight's tale of suspense. The producer of these broadcasts is William Spear, who, with Ted Bliss, director, Bernard Herrmann and Lucian Marowik, conductor and composer, and Robert L. Richards, the radio author, collaborated on tonight's Suspense.
And now CBS is pleased to announce that starting next week at the same time, Mr. Robert Young will begin a brand new series entitled Passport for Adams. Passport for Adams will bring you each week the adventures of an American newspaper reporter among the people of the United Nations. Next week's broadcast will be written and directed by Norman Corwin, with music by Bernard Herrmann, and the stars, we've said, will be Robert Young.
This is your narrator, the Man in Black, who invites you to be with us for Suspense 1 week from Saturday at 7:30 to 8 Eastern War Time, and from 8 to 8:30 Pacific War Time, when, with Miss Agnes Moorehead, and with a repeat performance by popular request of the play called Sorry, Wrong Number, we again hope to keep you in suspense.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Ladies, here's a sensational beauty tip direct from Hollywood. When you want your hair to look its radiant best for an important date, do this the night before. Give your hair a glamour bath with Kreml shampoo.
I certainly agree with that, Mr. Bell. And you know, Kreml shampoo is the shampoo used by those famous beauties, the Flowers models.
Kreml shampoo has been especially developed to glamour bathe each tiny strand of hair so that it fairly radiates natural dazzling highlights. It leaves the hair simply gleaming with natural glossy luster. And what's more, your hair stays that way for days.
And please bear in mind that Kreml shampoo is not a soapless shampoo. It's not a cream shampoo. It's not a drying detergent. It's entirely different.
Yes, Kreml shampoo uncovers all the natural highlights that lie concealed in every woman's hair. Yet it never dries the hair. In fact, Kreml shampoo has a built-in oil base which helps keep the hair from becoming dry or brittle.
Kreml shampoo whips up a luxuriant, active foam, even in the hardest water. It rinses out so easily and never leaves any dull, soapy film.
So, ladies, why not buy a bottle of Kreml shampoo at any drug counter and glamour bathe your hair to tantalizing loveliness? Kreml, Kreml shampoo.
HOJO Radio, where the classics come alive.
Suspense. This is the Man in Black, here to introduce Columbia's program, Suspense. Tonight, as we premiere our new Saturday evening series on the air, Miss Agnes Moorehead returns to our stage to appear in The Study in Terror by Lucille Fletcher, called Sorry, Wrong Number. This story of a woman who accidentally overheard a conversation with death and who strove frantically to prevent murder from claiming an innocent victim is being repeated by popular request as tonight's tale of suspense. If you've been with us before, you will know that suspense is compounded of mystery and suspicion and dangerous adventure. In this series are tales calculated to intrigue you, to stir your nerves, to offer you a precarious situation, and then withhold the solution until the last possible moment. And so it is with the story Sorry, Wrong Number, and the performance of Miss Agnes Moorehead. We again hope to keep you in suspense.
Oh, dear.
Your call, please.
Operator, I've been dialing Murray Hill 70093 now for the last 3/4 of an hour, and the line is always busy. I don't see how it could be busy that long. Will you try it for me, please?
I will be glad to try that number for you. One moment, please.
I don't see how it could be busy all this time. It's my husband's office. He's working late tonight, and I'm all alone here in the house. My health is very poor, and I've been feeling so nervous all day.
Ringing Murray Hill 70093.
Hello?
Hello? Hello, is Mr. Stevenson there?
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello, George?
Yes, this is George speaking.
Hello, who's this? What number am I calling, please?
I'm here with our client.
Oh, good. Is everything okay? Is the coast clear for the night?
Yeah, George. He says the coast is clear for the night.
Okay.
Where are you now?
In a phone boat. Don't worry. Everything's okay.
Very well. You know the address.
Yeah, I know. At 11 o'clock, the private patrolman goes around to the bar on 2nd Avenue for a beer.
That's right, at 11 o'clock.
I will make sure that all the lights downstairs are out.
There should be only one light visible from the street.
Yeah, I know. At 11:15, a train crosses the bridge. It
makes a noise in case her window is open and she should scream.
Oh, hello. What number is this, please?
Okay, I understand, I tell you. That's 11:15, the train.
Yeah. Do you remember everything else, George?
Yeah, I make it quick. As little blood as possible. Because our client does not wish to make her suffer long.
That's right. You'll use a knife?
Yes, a knife will be okay. Then afterwards I remove the rings and the bracelets and the jewelry in the bureau drawer. Because our client wishes it to look like simple robbery. Don't worry. Everything's okay. I never...
Oh, how awful, how unspeakably awful. Oh. The operator. Oh.
Your call, please.
Operator, I've just been cut off.
Sorry. What number were you calling?
Why, it was supposed to be Murray Hill 70093, but it wasn't. Some wires must have got crossed. I was cut into a wrong number, and I've just heard the most dreadful thing, something about a murder, and, operator, you simply have to retrace that call at once.
I beg your pardon. May I help you?
Oh, I know it was a wrong number, and I had no business listening, but these two men, they were cold-blooded fiends. They were going to murder somebody, some poor innocent woman who was all alone in a house near a bridge, and we've got to stop them. We've got to.
What number were you calling,
Well,
please?
that doesn't matter. This was a wrong number, and you dialed it for me, and we've got to find out what it was immediately.
What number did you call?
Oh, why are you so stupid? What time is it? Do you mean to tell me you can't find out what that number was just now?
I'll connect you with the chief operator.
Oh, I think it's perfectly shameful. Now, look, it was obviously a case of some little slip of the finger. I told you to try Murray Hill 70093 for me. You dialed it, but your finger must have slipped, and I was connected with some other number. And I could hear them, but they couldn't hear me. Now, I simply fail to see why you couldn't make that same mistake again on purpose, why you couldn't try to dial Murray Hill 70093 in the same sort of careless way.
Murray Hill 70093?
Yes.
I'll try to get it for you.
Oh, thank you.
I'm sorry. Murray Hill 70093 is busy. I will call you in 20 minutes.
Operator.
Your call, please.
You didn't try to get that wrong number at all. I asked you explicitly, and all you did was dial correctly.
I'm sorry. What number are you calling?
Well, can't you for once forget what number I'm calling and do something for me? Now, I want to trace that call. It's my civic duty, and it's your civic duty to trace that call and apprehend those dangerous killers. And if you won't...
I will connect you with the chief operator.
Please. Oh, dear.
This is the chief operator.
Oh, chief operator, I want you to trace a telephone call immediately. I don't know where it came from or who was making it, but it's absolutely necessary that it be tracked down because it was about a murder that someone's planning, a terrible, cold-blooded murder of a poor innocent woman tonight at 11:15.
I see.
Well, can you trace it for me? Can you track down those men?
I'm not certain. It depends.
Well, depends on what?
It depends on whether the call is still going on. If it's a live call, we can trace it on the equipment. If it's been disconnected, we can't.
Disconnect?
If the parties have stopped talking to each other.
Oh, but of course, they must have stopped talking to each other by now. That was at least 5 minutes ago, and they didn't sound like the type who would make a long call.
Well, I can try tracing it. May I have your name, please?
Mrs. Stevenson. Mrs. Albert Stevenson. But listen...
And your telephone number, please?
Plaza 42295. But if you go on wasting all this time...
Why do you want this call traced, please?
What? Well, no reason. I merely felt very strongly that something ought to be done about it. These men sounded like killers. They're dangerous. They're going to murder this woman at 11:15 tonight. I thought the police ought to know.
Have you reported this to the police?
Well, no, not yet.
You want this call checked purely as a private individual?
Yes, but meanwhile
I'm sorry, Mrs. Stevenson, but I'm afraid we couldn't make this check for you and trace the call just in your say-so as a private individual. We'd have to have something more official.
Oh, for heaven's sake. You mean to tell me I can't report that there's going to be a murder without getting tied up in all this red tape? Why, it's perfectly idiotic. Well, all right, I'll call the police.
Thank you. I'm sure that would be the best way to do it.
It's ridiculous. Perfectly ridiculous. I can't see why you have to go to all this trouble. Oh.
Your call, please.
The police department. Get me the police department, please.
Thank you.
Oh, dear, do you have to dial? Can't you ring them direct?
Ringing the police department.
rent. Look at the can.
Police station, precinct 43. Sergeant Martin speaking.
Police Department, this is Mrs. Stevenson, Mrs. Albert Smythe Stevenson of 53 North Sutton Place. I'm calling up to report a murder. I mean, the murder hasn't been committed yet, but I just overheard plans for it over the telephone, over a wrong number that the operator gave me. I've been trying to trace down the call myself, but everybody is so stupid, and I guess in the end you're the only people who can do anything.
Yes, ma'am.
It was a perfectly definite murder. I heard their plans distinctly. Two men were talking, and they were going to murder some woman at 11:15 tonight. She lived in a house near a bridge. Are you listening to me?
Huh? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and there was a private patrolman on the street. He was going to go around for a beer on 2nd Avenue, and there was some third man, a client, who was paying to have this poor woman murdered. They were going to take her rings and bracelets and use a knife. Well, it's unnerved me dreadfully, and I'm not well, and I'm just so nervous.
When was all this, ma'am?
About 8 minutes ago. Oh, then you can do something. You do understand.
What is your name, ma'am?
Mrs. Stevenson, Mrs. Albert Stevenson.
And your address?
53 North Sutton Place, 53 North Sutton Place. That's near a bridge, the Queensboro Bridge, you know, and we have a private patrolman on our street. And second...
And what was the number you were calling?
Murray Hill 70093. But that wasn't the number I overheard. I mean, Murray Hill 70093 is my husband's office. He's working late tonight, and I was trying to reach him to ask him to come home. I'm an invalid, you know, and it's the maid's night off, and I hate to be alone, even though he says I'm perfectly safe as long as I have the telephone right beside my bed.
Well, we'll look into it, Mrs. Stevenson, and see if we can check it with the telephone.
But the telephone company said they couldn't check the call if the parties had stopped talking. I've already taken care of that.
Oh, you have?
Yes, and personally, I feel you ought to do something far more immediate and drastic than just check the call. What good does checking the call do if they stop talking? By the time you tracked it down, they'll already have committed the murder.
Well, we'll take care of it, don't you worry.
Well, I'd say the whole thing calls for a search, a complete and thorough search of the whole city. Now, I'm very near the bridge, and I'm not far from 2nd Avenue. And I know I'd feel a whole lot better if you sent around a radio car to this neighborhood at once.
And what makes you think the murder is going to be committed in your neighborhood, ma'am?
Well, I don't know. Only the coincidence is so horrible. 2nd Avenue, the patrolman, the bridge.
2nd Avenue is a very long street, ma'am. And you know how many bridges there are in the city of New York
yes,
alone.
I know.
Not to mention Brooklyn, Staten Island, Queens, and the Bronx.
I know that.
How do you know there isn't some little house on Staten Island on some little 2nd Avenue you've never even heard about? Well, how do you know they're even talking about New York at all?
But I heard the call on the New York dialing system.
Maybe it was a long-distance call you overheard.
Oh, don't.
Telephones are funny things. Look, lady, why don't you look at it this way? Supposing you hadn't broken in on that telephone call.
What?
Supposing you'd got your husband the way you always do. You wouldn't be so upset, would you?
Well, no, I suppose not. Only it sounded so inhuman, so cold-blooded.
A lot of murders are plotted in this city every day, ma'am. We managed to prevent almost all of them.
Well,
but a clue of this kind is so vague. Isn't much more use to us than no clue at all.
But surely you...
Unless, of course, you have some reason for thinking this call was phony and that someone may be planning to murder you.
Me? Oh, no. No, I hardly think so. I mean, why should anybody? I'm alone all day and night. I see nobody except my maid Eloise, and she's a big girl. She weighs 200 pounds. She's too lazy to bring up my breakfast tray, and the only other person is my husband, Albert. He's crazy about me. He just adores me. He waits on me hand and foot. He's scarcely left my side since I took sick 12 years ago.
Well, then there's nothing for you to worry about. Now, if you'll just leave the rest of this to us, we'll take care of it.
But what will you do? It's so late. It's nearly 11 now.
We'll take care of it,
Well,
lady.
will you broadcast it all over the city and send out squads and warn your radio cars to watch out, especially in suspicious neighborhoods like mine?
Lady, I said we'd take care of it.
But...
Just now, I've got a couple of other matters here on my desk that require immediate attention. Good night, ma'am, and thank you.
Oh, you idiot. Oh, now why did I hang up the phone like that? He'll think I am a fool. Oh, why doesn't Albert come home? Why doesn't he? Why doesn't he? Oh. Oh. So nervous.
Your call, please.
Operator, for heaven's sake, will you ring that Murray Hill 70093 number again? I can't think what's keeping him so long.
I will try it for you.
Well, try. I don't see why he doesn't answer. Oh.
I'm sorry. Murray Hill 70093 is busy. I will call
I
you
can
in
hear
20
it. You
minutes.
don't have to tell me. I know it's busy. Oh, if I could only get out of this bed for a little while. If I could get a breath of fresh air or just lean out of the window and see the street. Hello, Albert? Hello? 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 Oh, what's the matter with this phone? Hello? Hello? Oh. Hello? Hello? Oh, for heaven's sake, who is this? Hello? Oh, hello? Oh, who's trying to call me? Why doesn't she answer?
Your call, please.
Hello, operator. I don't know what's the matter with this telephone tonight, but it's positively driving me crazy. I've never seen such inefficient, miserable service. Now, look. I'm an invalid, and I'm very nervous, and I'm not supposed to be annoyed. But if this keeps on much longer...
What seems to be the trouble, please?
Well, everything's wrong. I haven't had one bit of satisfaction out of one call I've made this evening. The whole world could be murdered for all you people care. And now my phone keeps ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing every 5 seconds or so, and when I pick it up, there's no one there.
I'm sorry. If you will hang up, I will test it for you.
I don't want you to test it for me. I want you to put that call through, whatever it is, at once.
I'm afraid I cannot do
You
that.
can't! And why? Why, may I ask?
The dial system is automatic. If someone is trying to dial your number, there is no way to check it without the call is coming through the system or not, unless the person who is trying to reach you complains to a particular operator.
Well, of all the stupid. And meanwhile, I've got to sit here in my bed suffering every time that phone rings, imagining everything.
I will try to check the trouble for
Well,
you.
check it. That's all anybody can do. Oh, what's the use of talking to you? You're so stupid. Oh, I'll fix her of all the impudence. How dare she speak to me like that? How dare she? Call the operator. Oh, why does it take so long?
Your call, please.
Young woman, I don't know your name, but there are ways of finding you out, and I'm going to report you to your superiors for the most unpardonable rudeness and insolence it's ever been my privilege. Give me the business office at once.
You may dial that number direct.
Dial it direct? I'll do no such thing. I don't even know the number.
The number is in the directory, or you may secure it by dialing information.
Listen here, you... Oh, what's the use? Oh, dear. Oh, for heaven's sake, I'm going out of my mind, out of my... Hello? Hello? Stop ringing me, do you hear? Answer me. Who is this? You realize you're driving me crazy? Who is calling me? What are you doing it for? Now, stop it, stop it, stop it. Hello? Hello? If you don't stop ringing me, I'm going to call the police. You hear? The police. Oh, if Albert would only come home. Oh, let it ring. Let it go on ringing. It's a trick of some kind. I won't answer. I won't even if it goes on ringing all night. Oh, you ring. Go ahead and ring. Oh. Now what's the matter? Why did they stop ringing all of a sudden? Oh, what time is it? Where did I put that clock? Oh, here it is. 5 to 11. Oh, they decided something. They're sure I'm home. They heard my voice answer them just now. That's why they've been ringing me. Why no one has answered me. I'll call the operator again. Oh, where is she? Why doesn't she answer? Why doesn't she answer? Oh,
Your call, please.
where were you just now? Why didn't you answer at once? Give me the police department. Oh, she's hurry.
I'm sorry, the line is busy. I will call you.
Busy, but that's impossible. The police department can't be busy. There must be other lines available.
The line is busy. I will try to get them for you later.
No, I've got to speak to them now, or it may be too late. I've got to talk to someone.
What number do you wish to speak to?
I don't know, but there must be someone to protect people beside the police department. A detective agency.
You will find agencies listed in the classified directory.
But I don't have a classified. I mean, I'm too nervous to look it up, and I don't know how to use it.
I'll connect you with information. Perhaps she will be able to help you.
No. Oh, you're being spiteful, aren't you? You don't care, do you, what happens to me? I could die and you wouldn't care. Oh, stop! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! I can't stand anymore. Hello? What do you want? Stop ringing, will you? Stop it!
Hello? Is this Plaza 42295?
Yes, I'm sorry. This is Plaza 42295.
This is Western Union. I have a telegram here for Mrs. Albert Stevenson. Is there anyone there to receive the message?
I'm Mrs. Stevenson.
The telegram is as follows. Mrs. Albert Stevenson, 53 North Sutton Place, New York, New York. Darling, terribly sorry. Tried to get you for last hour, but line busy. Leaving for Boston 11 p.m. tonight on urgent business. Back tomorrow afternoon. Keep happy. Love, signed, Albert.
Oh, no.
Do you wish us to deliver a copy of the message?
No, thank you.
Thank you, madam. Good night.
Good night. Oh, no. No, I don't believe it. He couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. Not when he knows I'll be all alone. It's some trick. Some fiendish trick. Oh, it's some trick. Why doesn't she...
Your call, please.
Operator, try that Murray Hill 70093 number for me just once more, please.
You may dial that number direct.
Oh. You. Oh. 9 3. Oh, he's gone. He's gone. Oh, Elbert, how could you? How could you? How could you? I can't be alone tonight. I can't. If I'm alone one more second, I'll go mad. I don't care what he says or what the expense is. I'm a sick woman. I'm entitled. I'm entitled to be here. Oh, my sister's Johnson. Duke Johnson.
Information. May I help you?
I want the telephone number of Henchley Hospital.
Henchley Hospital? Do you have the street address?
No. It's somewhere in the 70s. It's a very small, private, and exclusive hospital where I had my appendix out 2 years ago. Henchley. H-E-N...
One moment, please.
Please hurry. And please, what is the time?
You may find out the time by dialing Meridian 71212.
Oh, for heaven's sake, I've no time to be dialing.
The number of Henchley Hospital is Butterfield 70105.
Butterfield 70105. You 7 0 1 0 5. No. Oh.
Henchley Hospital, good evening.
A nurse's registry.
Who was it you wish to speak to, please?
I want the nurse's registry at once. I want a trained nurse. I want to hire her immediately for the night.
I see. And what is the nature of the case, madam?
Nerves. I'm very nervous. I need soothing and companionship. You see, my husband is away, and I'm...
Have you been recommended to us by any doctor in particular, madam?
No, but I really don't see why all this catechizing is necessary. I just want a trained nurse. I was a patient in your hospital 2 years ago, and after all, I do expect to pay this person for attending me.
We quite understand that, madam. But these are war times, you know.
Well,
registered nurses are very scarce just now, and our superintendent has asked us to send people out only on cases where the physician in charge feels that it is absolutely necessary.
Well, it is absolutely necessary. I'm a sick woman. I'm very upset, very. I'm alone in this house, and I'm an invalid, and tonight I overheard a telephone conversation that upset me dreadfully. In fact, if someone doesn't come at once, I'm afraid I'll go out of my mind.
I see. Well, I'll speak to Miss Phillips as soon as she comes in. And what is your name?
Miss Phillips? And when do you expect her in?
Well, I really couldn't say. She went out to supper at 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock? But it's not 11 yet. Oh, my clock has stopped. I thought it was running down. What time is it?
Just 15 minutes past 11.
What was that?
What, ma'am?
That click just now in my own telephone as though someone had lifted the receiver off the hook of the extension telephone downstairs.
Well, I didn't hear it, madam. Now, about...
But I did. There's someone in this house. Someone downstairs in the kitchen, and they're listening to me now. I won't pick it up.
I won't let them hear me. I'll be quiet, and they'll see. Oh, but if I don't call someone now while they're still down there, there'll be no time. Oh, I've got to find somebody. Oh, but why sit here?
Your call, please.
Operator, I'm in desperate trouble.
I'm sorry. I cannot hear you. Please speak louder.
I don't dare. There's someone listening. Can you hear me now?
I'm sorry.
But you've got to hear me. Oh, please, you've got to help me. There's someone in this house. Someone who's going to murder me. And you've got to get in touch with... Oh, there it is. There it is. Did you hear it? He's put it down. He's put down the extension phone. He's coming up. He's coming up the stairs. Give me the police department. The police department. The police department. Give it to me.
One moment, please. I will connect you.
I can hear him. He's near her. Oh, I hear him. I hear it. Hurry. Hurry. Oh, don't come near me. I don't come near me.
Police Department, Sergeant Martin speaking. Police Department, Sergeant Martin speaking. Police Department, Sergeant Martin speaking. Police Department, Sergeant Martin speaking.
Police Department? Oh, I'm sorry. I must have got the wrong number. Don't worry. Everything's okay.
And so closes Sorry, Wrong Number, starring Agnes Moorehead. Tonight's tale of suspense. Who conveys to you Columbia's invitation to spend this half hour in suspense with us again next Saturday, when we'll have another starring Hollywood cast, headed by Miss Dolores Costello, with Martin Kozlik, Ian Wolfe, and George Zucco. The producer of these broadcasts is William Spear, who with Ted Bliss, the director, Lud Gluskin, the musical director, and Lucille Fletcher, the author, collaborated on tonight's Suspense.
The entire country is waiting in suspense for the answer to this important question. Will the United States Cadet Nurse Corps reach its goal of enrolling 65,000 student nurses before the end of 1943? For if it doesn't, this country faces the prospect of needless suffering and loss of life at a time when our full health and energy are needed to win the war. What are you girls from 17 or 18 to 35 going to do about it? If you're a high school graduate in good health, you're eligible for a scholarship which will pay you all your expenses while you're learning to be of service to your fellow man. Not only will you receive a personal spending allowance of $15 a month for the first 9 months in training, $20 a month for the following 21 months, and then $30 a month until graduation, but you will, in addition to this personal allowance, receive allowances for room, board, health and laboratory fees, books, and other incidental expenses. This is your chance to do something for yourself while you're doing something big for your country. You're needed now, so write immediately to the U.S. Cadet Nurses Corps, Box 88, New York, or to any nursing school of your choice, and they will furnish you with all the essential information. You are needed now, so act now.
Do you like rich, delicious chocolate-flavored malteds? Well, you can make a malted just like that right in your own kitchen with Kraft chocolate-flavored malted milk. Just make a tasty paste of Kraft chocolate-flavored malted milk and a little milk in the bottom of a big glass. Fill the glass with chilled milk, stir it once more, and there. A Kraft malted is mighty nourishing, too, because it's filled with all the food values in milk. Get a jar of Kraft chocolate-flavored malted milk from your grocer and enjoy a Kraft malted off.
Our next broadcast brings together everything that was good about old-time radio rolled into one. The title itself almost sums up the very essence of what radio drama is all about. Each of the episodes was a microdrama, carefully planned to capture the listener's attention. Over 200 episodes were made, and almost all of them are as good today as they were over half a century ago. For the first few years the series was on air, the announcement at the start of the show varied almost every week, but by the 1950s, it had settled down to be the now famous, tired of the everyday grind? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all? We offer you Escape on HOJO Radio.
Escape. It's time to escape into the world of adventure. Time to forget for the next half hour the four walls of today and escape beyond the horizons of the mind to yesterday and tomorrow. CBS and its affiliated stations present Escape. Tonight we escape with Rudyard Kipling and the two gentle scoundrels he created in his immortal story, The Man Who Would Be King. The time, sometime before yesterday. The place, the north of India. The man who tells the story, Rudyard Kipling.
One Saturday night, it was my unpleasant duty to put the paper to bed alone. It was a pitchy black night, as stifling as night can be in India in June. It was very still, save for the ticking of the clock above my desk, which seemed to shatter the black heat of the night as the hands crept toward 3 a.m. And then from the passage outside my door,
Hey, Peachy.
I heard voices.
Your light burning. And he must be here. Open the door.
Who's there?
Only us.
Who are you?
He don't remember us, Dan.
That he don't. How could he forget having us turned back at the Jodhpur border? Told the authorities we was impersonating newspaper reporters, he did.
Wait. That flaming red beard and that bald head. Why, you're Daniel Dravett and Peachy Carnahan.
The same.
Well, what do you want? If it's money, I haven't any. If it's a fight, it's simply too beastly hot.
You can rest yourself easy, sir, because we've come asking for naught except some information.
We've been all over this country, and we've concluded that India isn't big enough for such as Daniel and me.
So we're going away to be kings.
Kings in our own divine right.
What?
Aye, we shall be kings.
We've signed a solemn contract, each to help the other, and neither of us to take a look at liquor or women until we become kings.
Why, I've never heard of such a fantastic idea. But what is it you want of me?
Naught but to look at such maps of Kafiristan as you might have about.
Maps of Kafiristan?
That's where we've decided to go.
But don't you realize that not one single Englishman has ever gone into the Kafiristan mountains and lived to come out again? If you're really mad enough to go there, you're a good deal more likely to become dead men than kings.
We shall see.
Anyway, I don't believe you have the slightest intention of traveling a mile outside of Delhi.
Then you should come down to the Serai marketplace in the morning, down where the caravans leave for the north.
Yes, come down to the Serai in the morning and see then if we be liars. Oh, thieves, robbers, liars, the blessing of Pir Khan upon all pigs, dogs and perjurers. Who will take the protection of heaven to the Lord?
You should not laugh at him, Sahib. The witless are under the protection of Allah.
Quite so, boy. Who is the fellow anyway?
A mad priest, Sahib, who has arrived only this morning from Ajmer.
Ah, yes, Sahib. come to look at my camels, loaded with toys to please the eye of an Amir.
Oh, here now, go about your business. I haven't any use for toys.
These are wondrous toys indeed, Sahib. Fit for a king of Kafiristan.
What? Good Lord. Daniel Dravett.
Quiet. Come along. I've 2 camels just beyond the wall here. The blessings of Pir Khan on the gracious Sahib, who consents to look at the poor toys of a priest from Ajmer. Over this way.
Where's Carnahan?
Here we are. Permit me to present my servant, Hazir Mir Khan.
At your service, goodman.
Well, I'll be...
Do you like our disguises? Do they pass?
If they fool this crowd in the Serai, they're probably good enough to get you across the border and good enough to get you killed.
Getting killed is no part of the contract Peachy and me drawed up, although perhaps killing fits in with our plans in a different sense. Feel around underneath the toys there in the camel bags.
What?
Go ahead.
Good Lord. Rifles.
20 brand new martinis with ammunition to match.
And 20 good reasons to make your death certain. Any Pathan of the hill tribes would kill his own mother to get a rifle.
Now who would harm a poor mad priest, Sahib? Allah protects me.
Mad is right.
Then so was Lord Clive and Rhodes and Bonaparte. Drive out the camels, Peachy. We've a long way to go before we become kings. Oh, hey, up!
As I stood and listened to the camel bells fade away in the distance, I wondered if it might not be a glorious thing to go to Kafiristan and be a king. 3 years pass in India much as they pass in any other land. It grows hot, then the rains come, and then the heat again. Some colonel at a hill station puts down an uprising. A new viceroy comes out from London, and the paper duly records the death of a sultan in Rajputana, and the trees in the courtyard grow a few feet taller. Finally, time in its circle turned up another night, much like the one 3 years before. Once again I sat alone in the office, listening to the clock and waiting for some unimportant item to come over the wire from Europe. It was long after midnight when my office door slowly opened. I say, look here, you might knock first, you know.
Knock.
Good Lord, man. What's wrong?
You don't know who I am, do you?
No, I haven't the faintest idea. But here, you'd better sit down, old fellow. You're in a bad way.
Yes. Thank you. It's a whole year I've been walking. Right here in this very office we settled it. You sitting right there and giving us the maps. You've been sitting there ever since. 3 years.
No. Oh, no. Why, a man couldn't change that much in 3 years. You're not Peachy Carnahan.
Yes. I was king of Kafiristan. Me and Daniel Dravett. Real crown kings we was. Just as true as gospel.
What in the name of heaven have they done to you, Peachy?
Peachy? I knew Peachy Carnahan once. He's a king. Wears a real golden crown on his head, so help me, he does. He's dead now, though.
No. You're Peachy Carnahan. You must pull yourself together, man.
Yes. Pull myself. You got to keep looking into my eyes. Then maybe everything won't go to pieces.
All right. Now, tell me what happened, Peachy.
We left the caravan at Jagdala. We struck off into the hills alone.
Go on.
Weeks it was we travelled, Daniel and me. First there wasn't no roads, and after a while, no food. But there was always the drums. Sometimes they was close, and sometimes farther off. But most of the time we could hear them somewhere.
Oi, up! Move along, up! Here now, it's no place to be stopping. Up with you.
I'm fearing it's no use, Daniel.
What's got into them?
The poor beasts are done in and starved, same as ourselves. They'll go no further.
Then we'll go on without them. I've not come this far to die on the side of a mountain.
Wait. Look, Daniel. Over the edge of the rocks.
What? Oh, men they are.
There'll be a score or more of them. One goes ahead of the rest.
And naught but bows and arrows. Break out a pair of the rifles, Peachy.
Right you are, Daniel.
It's now that we start to become kings.
Here, and some cartridges too.
Easy now, Peachy. I'll drop the straggler at the rear first, and then we'll lay a few at their feet. No harm to the one in front. We may need him. Now. Got him by the old neck! Lay on, Peachy!
Hold it, Daniel! Look at them!
Aye, flat on their blooming faces.
The leader is come out alone.
Well and good, and we'll go part way to meet him, Peachy, but keep your rifle by.
Look at him, Daniel. He be as fair as us, with yellow hair.
So he does. Part of the lost tribes, these people are.
He stopped.
I await your command, O ye who speak in the voice of thunder.
Oh, the Lord Harry. Peachy, we're in luck. It's the old Afghan tongue he speaks. Speak up! Who are you, and whence do you come?
I am High Priest and the chief of the village of Bashkai. A journey of only a few heartbeats.
This Bashkai, how many people?
They are numbered in the 1,000.
There are more villages in the hills?
More than a man has fingers and toes.
Hear that, Peachy? Here's our kingdom made to order. And you're going to take us to Bashkai. Do you understand?
I understand the voice of thunder that you speak.
Oh, he's a smooth one, Peachy. He knows a thing or two. What's your name?
Mazur Khan Jagdalur.
That's too long. What shall we call him, Peachy?
He has a look about him of an old soldiering friend of ours, Billy Fish.
So he does. We bestow a new name on you. From now on, you will be Billy Fish.
As you command, I obey.
All right. Put this on your drums. Tell them 2 kings have come out from the mountaintops. 2 kings that speak in words of thunder so the earth trembles. Tell them 2 kings have come to Kafiristan. That you, Peachy?
Daniel, why be you sitting here in the dark?
I've been thinking. A man has to stop and think sometimes.
About anything special, Daniel?
Look at 'em, Peachy. Look at their blinking campfires a-gleaming in the dark like the jewels in a crown.
Aye, Daniel. You've done a fine job for sure. All 23 villages you joined together as one.
'Tis the army you trained to be thanked for it. 2,000 men with a fair knowledge of bearing arms.
Some's a bit green at it yet.
They're ours now, every man, jack, woman, and child. We own 'em, body and soul.
Aye, we're kings now, Daniel. Not proper kings yet, but we will be.
Sooner than you think, Peachy.
How's that?
Billy Fish told me something today that fair amazed me. These people know the craft.
You mean they're Freemasons, Daniel? It ain't no wise possible.
So help me, it's gospel true. He give me the grip and everything. It's old, the craft is, older than the memory of man. And up here in the hills, they've been preserving it all these years. Why, some of the high priests know up through the fellow craft, but they don't know the 3rd degree. See it, Peachy? They don't know the 3rd degree, but we do.
Daniel, what is it you're fixing to do?
We're going to be proper kings. We're going to get 'em going and coming now. I'm going to turn the whole country into one grand lodge, raise some of the priests to 3rd degree, and for me, I'll be the Grand Master of Kafiristan.
Oh, but you ain't got the right to. We never been officers in no lodge.
Right? What's a king got to do with asking for a right?
Oh, I'm against it, Daniel.
It's no good to go fooling around with the craft.
Ah, you talk like an old woman. The thing'll work. I know it will. We'll make it a blooming ceremony. Regular aprons with the symbol and the marks. All of us, Peachy. The kings of Kafiristan.
Everything is prepared, Master. And the priests and the people wait.
Well, they don't have to wait much longer, Billy. Here now, Peachy. How do you like my apron?
It's a wondrous sight for fair, Daniel.
Made of white ermine skin it is. And the master's mark with emeralds studded.
The mark? You know the meaning of the mark?
That I do. What's got into you, Billy?
Not. But 'tis a thing that's passing strange, Master.
Strange and rubbish. Come along now. Ready, Peachy?
Right with you, Daniel.
Then out we go. Onto the temple steps. We'll give 'em what for. Knock their blinking eyes out. That's what we'll do. Look at 'em, Peachy! Right down on their blooming knees and yelling their full heads off.
Oh, and a good thing to be a king, Daniel.
The mark! Behold! The mark!
Tis a sign.
The promised ones have come!
Here now. What's wrong with the priest, Billy?
It looks like trouble, Daniel.
No. Stand where you are, Master. They recognize the mark.
That great stone in the floor. Why do they turn it over?
Wait.
It's the same!
He bears the mark.
The promised ones have come!
Speak up, Billy Fish. What's the meaning of it?
See for yourself. Look.
Daniel. Carved on the back of the stone.
'Tis the master's mark, all right.
And the same as the sign you wear. Only a few of the priests have known of the hidden mark on the stone.
What does it mean?
The many who have doubted you were a god doubt no longer.
And you, Billy? What do you think?
I, Master? I think that now it is the time for these.
Daniel! Golden crowns!
Aye, how they glitter. Fit for the brow of a king.
'Tis what we came for.
Here now, put 'em on. We'll crown ourselves in our own right. Listen to 'em. You know something, Peachy? We come here to be kings, and that we are, all right. But blamed if we ain't a couple of blooming gods to boot, with 1,000,000 people bowing on their knees before us.
Well enough, Peachy. So it was gods you became as well as kings. But then, what happened? What became of Daniel Dravett?
Dravett? I knew Daniel Dravett once. He's a king now, Daniel is. Wears a golden crown. Canaan was with him.
Peachy, try to pull yourself together.
I'll try.
Now, you became kings, you and Daniel. Kings of all Kafiristan.
He was a fine figure, Daniel was, with his red head wearing that golden crown. Kept himself aloof from the people, so to speak. And when he walked before the temple, they fair crawled on their stomachs to worship him.
But what happened, man?
Happened? Well, I figure mostly it was winter coming on. The winds were starting up, and the clouds was blowing down from the north. Oh, it could blow beastly cold, that winter wind.
Hey? Who's out there? That you, Billy? Confound it anyway. Here now. What's this?
I have brought you food, Master. Stew of the wild sheep with curry and rice.
Up off your knees, girl. Bring it inside.
Thank you, Master.
Place it there. Now, you're a well-favoured wench.
I do not understand.
Why were you crawling on your knees?
'Tis a fitting way to approach the god of Kafiristan.
What's your name, girl?
Marum of danger.
Marum, eh? You married?
It has not yet been my happy fortune, master.
Are you afraid of me?
You are a god.
I mean, how do I seem to you? Do you find me pleasing or what?
Your face is more wondrous than the noonday sun. And your look, the look of eagles.
Very well, you may leave now.
Thank you, master.
Marum, eh? Peachy! Peachy!
Is you calling me, Daniel? Oh, the food's here, eh? Good.
Knock that wind outside. Winter's about due to strike and fill the trails with snow. There'll be little moving about afore spring.
Right you are.
Peachy, I've decided to take a wife.
But you can't do it, Daniel. We made a contract.
That was till we was kings. Well, kings we've been many months now.
Oh, but it's no good. I tell you now, I'm against it.
Against it? You was against using the craft too. But look what it done for us.
Oh, but this is different. Billy Fish will tell you no, too, the same as I do.
Billy Fish, huh? Who's the king here, him or me? My mind's made up. 3 days from now, I shall have me a wife. And you can put it on the drums and tell every blighter out there in the hills. The kingdom of Kafiristan is going to have a queen. What's keeping her, Peachy? They should have brought her in here half an hour ago.
I don't know, Daniel.
How about you, Billy Fish? You put 'em up to stalling off deliberate like?
Certain preparations must be made, master.
She's across the court with some of the priests. Maybe they're trying to hearten her up a bit, Daniel. She thinks she's going to die, you know.
Die, indeed. Why, I'm only...
Master, it is against the laws of heaven for a woman to marry a god.
I'm not a god. I'm a man. You know that by now, Billy.
No, and I should not want to think so, master. But either way, this can mean only trouble. I beg you to reconsider.
And I beg you to shut up, Billy. I'm through waiting. I'm going over there.
Master, please.
We got to go with him, Billy. And I'm thinking it's going to mean trouble. How many men can you depend on?
No more than 20 with rifles. Most of my men are in Bashkai.
Then what shall we do?
We shall have to make a run for it, I fear. We might be safe in Bashkai.
Come on now, you buckling fools. Bring out the girl. Well, now, that's better. Here, girl, this is no way for a bride to behave. A smile now, and give us a kiss. Oh! The wench has bitten me.
Bloodbuster, don't let them see the blood.
Look! See the blood! It's not a god or a devil, but only a man!
Here, blasted, what is this, rot?
Master, it is too late.
Mark, Daniel, they're coming with knives.
They can't do this. I'm the king.
We've got to run for it, Master.
Oh, come on, Daniel, come on.
Confounded heathens. I'll come back and beat their blasted heads in. That's what I'll do.
Oh, Daniel, we'll be back all right.
How much further, Billy?
Only a short way beyond this ridge, Master.
Well, so far, so good. At last, them blooming drums are stopped.
We're at the top, Daniel.
A right good climb it's been.
Oh, wait. Look. It seems the drums have come before us, Master.
Cut off. No less than 1,000 of them standing there quiet-like, with them wicked long knives in their hands.
There'll be no getting past them, Daniel.
No. We are done for. Go back, Billy Fish, and take your men away with you. Go with him, Peachy. It's me they want. I did it.
Me, the king. No, Dan. I'm sticking with you. Billy Fish, you clear out.
I am your friend. I stay with you.
You're a good man, Billy. Maybe coming now, Daniel.
Peachy.
Forget it, Daniel. I forgive you freely and fully.
Then let them come. There'll be one thing they can't change, Peachy. We've been kings. Kings in our own right. Kings of all Kafiristan.
Sliced open poor Billy Fish like a bloomin' herring, they did. There in the snow and the rocks.
Good Lord, man. But you, Peachy, you got away from them.
Like nowhere did I get away from them. They had us for fair, all right. Strung me out on a tree. Drove nails right through my hands, they did. See? But I fooled them all right. 'Cause morning came, I wasn't nowise dead. And then I made them think I'd lost my senses. They was afraid to harm me because I was protected by Allah. They cut me down then, and after a while, they let me go.
You poor devil. But what of Dravit? What happened to Daniel?
Daniel's the king. He wears the golden crown.
But now, what happened to him?
He's never left me. All them long months walking on the road back, he kept me safe. The mountains, they danced at night. But Daniel held up his hands and Peachy came along, bent double. I never let go of Daniel's hand, nor Daniel's head that they gave me in the temple as a present. It's with me now, here, in this bundle. You knew old Daniels, him that was a monarch once. Look at him now. Well, and now you've seen that we was really kings. I'll be on my way. You'll pardon me, sir?
I let him go. There was little else to do. He was only hours away from his death. I sat there and stared at the bundle he had left lying on my desk, stared as the pale shafts of dawn struck fire in the red beard, stared at the golden crown, sitting too large and heavy upon the wrinkled, mummified head of Daniel Dravit, the man who would be king.
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson. Tonight's story, Rudyard Kipling's The Man Who Would Be King, was adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield and featured Raymond Lawrence as Peachy, Eric Snowden as Daniel Dravit, and Herbert Rawlinson as Kipling. Musical effects were created and conducted by Cy Fewer. Next week, CBS and its affiliated stations invite you to escape in Operation Fleur-de-Lis, an episode from the files of the OSS. And so, good night, until a week from tonight, when again we invite you to escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
But if you really want to appeal to his better nature, see that he winds up every meal with a good big cup of satisfying Lipton tea. Men certainly go for that brisk Lipton flavor. It's so lively and full of zip. So make a note right now to ask your grocer for Lipton tea tomorrow morning. Once you taste full-bodied Lipton tea, you'll know why you find Lipton tea in more teacups than any other brand of tea in the world. For Lipton is tea at its delicious best. Start enjoying it real soon. Get the tea with brisk flavor. Get Lipton tea.
Keep it tuned right here to HOJO Radio for more classic old-time radio.
Escape. Escape tonight to occupied France and the underground.
The Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations presents Escape, a new series of programs of which this, the second, is Operation Fleur-de-Lis, written and directed by William N. Robeson. Today, the 14th of July, the people of a free France celebrate the anniversary of their escape from the tyranny of the kings of Versailles. 158 years ago today, the people of Paris stormed the Bastille and let loose the French Revolution. The torch of liberty set afire that day never burned more fiercely than during the years when France was occupied by the Nazis. We escape tonight to occupied France, from which 3 years ago there was no escape.
You can call me Duke, but don't use my right name. I might want to go back to France someday. And there are a lot of people in the world that wouldn't understand that what I did was justified in a war. No, I don't have any regrets. Moral ones, that is. It isn't what I did to Renee that keeps me awake at nights. It's just the memory of her. There isn't much about her in my official report on Operation Fleur-de-Lis, but then it isn't customary to include descriptions of slim, sunburned legs and wide, deep brown eyes in a military document. And anyway, she was only an incident in the operation, even if she became somewhat more important to me. Operation Fleur-de-Lis began like all the others in the grubby, undistinguished house in London, which was the headquarters of the OSS, the Office of Strategic Services, otherwise known in various parts of the world as screwballs, cutthroats, spies, cloak and dagger boys, and American underground agents.
Gentlemen, Operation Fleur-de-Lis is planned to assist the advance of our forces once they've secured a beachhead in Normandy.
Is that where we're going in, Major?
That is one of the possibilities, Lieutenant.
Yes, sir.
You will jump over Grandmont in northern France, here on the map. You have to set up roadblocks on these 3 state highways. Here, here, and here.
There is an underground contact near Grandmont's?
Yes, Alcine Duton. He's leader of the local maquis. He's expecting him. In addition, you're to block these railroad lines entering and leaving Grandmont. These operations are to coincide with the advance of our ground forces.
If they land in Normandy.
If they land in Normandy. You will enplane tonight at 2100 hours and will drop over your objective at, I should think, approximately 2230. Any questions?
No, I don't think so, sir.
Well, yes, sir, I have a question.
Yes, Lieutenant?
How many of us are going on this mission?
Just the 2 of you.
Just the 2 of us. And all we had to do was organize an underground army, disrupt the supply lines of a half a dozen Nazi divisions, and give support to the entire Allied invasion. Just the 2 of us. But that's the way the OSS worked. And nobody ordered Hill and me into it. We'd volunteered. I don't know why. Maybe for moments like this one, when you get a B-24 assigned to you as a personal taxi, and there's lots of room to sprawl around after the bomb bay.
How do you feel?
Fine.
Scared?
Of course I'm scared, aren't you?
Me? No, this is a walk. You forget how tough it was when we were at paratroop school at Benning.
Yeah, that was real rugged.
If the wind wasn't right, you might land in the Chattahoochee and get all wet.
And there was always the chance that you'd sprain your ankle coming down too hard.
And the sun was so bright on some of those daylight jumps.
Whereas we got none of those things to worry about here. A nice pitch-black night over France, no sun to blind us, no Chattahoochee River to fall into.
Hey, Lieutenant.
Yes, Sergeant.
Skipper wants to talk to you on the intercom.
Thanks.
Here, use my cans.
Thank you. Duke here.
Lieutenant, I'm over your objective.
Any signal from the ground?
Yes, the one arranged. 4 dots, 2 dashes. Green.
Very well.
You and Lieutenant Hill move into the Bombay catwalk. I'll open Bombay doors in 30 seconds.
Roger.
Good luck.
Thanks. Sergeant, stand by to dump those supplies as soon as we're clear.
Yes, sir.
Come on, Ed. This, as someone has said, is it.
So soon? Just as I was settling down to a good book.
Bombay doors are opening, sir.
Okay, Sergeant. All right, Ed, let's check your harness.
It's a frightful mess. I just can't seem to do a thing with it.
I know, but this is the last party you'll have to wear it on. Okay. How am I?
Well, don't look now, but your chute's showing.
Tuck it in. Let's get out on that catwalk.
Wow, what a refreshing breeze.
And all of France at our feet.
You see the signal?
That's what I'm looking for. There it is. Over to the left. You got it?
Got it.
Let's go! You kid. Sure you kid. It helps. But for those 10 seconds while you fall free, nothing helps. You hang on to the ripcord and you count off the seconds and you try not to count too fast. Your hand on that ripcord is the only certain thing in the world as you tumble head over teacups with a wind tearing sound from your ears. And there's only one thought, always the same thought, whether it's your first or your 50th jump. Will the chute open? It does. Yanking at your armpits, knocking the breath out of you, slowing you down, and you swing there like a rag doll trying to get your bearings. First, you make out the horizon. That's where the black becomes darker black, where the stars stop. And you wonder about Ed, but you can't risk calling out. And now that you're located where the stars aren't, you look for the signal light, and there it is, slightly to the left. So you tug at your shroud lines, spilling a little air to guide you toward it. And it's coming toward you awfully fast. And you hope this particular French patriot has picked out a field free of trees and church steeples. And then you try to remember all the things they taught you about hitting the ground and rolling with the wind and collapsing your chute. Because it's always like this. You always feel like you've never hit the silk before. And then you're down, and you roll just right, and you collapse your chute, and it's second nature to you after all. And then you hear footsteps running towards you. And you remember another important instruction. You whip out your automatic, and you hope your French is good enough to get you by. Qui va? Who is it?
Alcine here.
Fleur.
Delete.
Okay, Alcine, come on.
At last you have arrived, Lieutenant.
So it seems.
You have no idea how long we've wished for this moment.
Hold it. That's my partner. Come on. Hey, Ed. Ed.
Over here, Duke.
You okay?
My empennage is slightly damaged, otherwise okay.
This is Alcine, our contact. Alcine, Lieutenant Hill.
Hello, Alcine.
Lieutenant, it is a great pleasure to make your acquaintance. And on behalf of my countrymen...
Yeah, well, let's get these chutes buried and blow this place. Where's your transportation, Alcine?
We haven't any.
What?
Where's the safe house?
You might be able to stay at my aunt's. I don't think she'd talk.
You don't think, aren't you sure?
Oh, yes, I'm supremely confident that
Where are the Germans?
They're everywhere. And that is why I'm so glad you're here. Now we can fight again. With your help, we will kill many Boche.
Oh, wait a minute. How many are there in your Maquis?
Myself and 2 others.
Just 3 of you?
Oh, my aching back.
But now that the Americans are here, we can do anything.
Oh, why don't they get these things straight in London? How can we block roads with a 3-man Maquis?
3 men and an aunt who perhaps will not talk.
Well, let's get cracking.
Duke, you're not going through with this mad venture, are you?
What would you suggest?
Well, as for me, I'm all for taking the next plane back to London.
Another piece of bread, Lieutenant.
No, thank you, ma'am.
This boned chicken is delicious. How do you call it?
K-ration.
Supreme. We've had nothing like it since the Boche came.
Yeah, well, you get used to it.
And cigarettes, Tante Marie. Cigarettes made of real tobacco. Ah, you Americans have everything.
Madame, Alcine, you are kind, you are hospitable. But the comforts of K-ration will not block roads. We need men. We must form a Maquis.
But we have a Maquis.
Look, Alcine, there are 3 of you and 2 of us. Sure, we've got guns and we've got ammunition and supply chutes somewhere out in that field where we landed. We've got arms for 50 men. But if we had those men, we still couldn't go to war against the German division.
Now, you said yourself there's at least a division garrisoned in Grammont.
What must we do?
First, we must organize a Maquis. We need men. Can you get them?
I can go into the village and talk to my friends.
Should have done that a long time ago.
Alcine, that would be most unwise.
Why?
Didn't you know? Alcine is a patriot. He's a deserter from the Vichy army, so he's wanted by the Gestapo.
Oh, great. And there's a Gestapo headquarters in Grammont, of course.
Of course. Alcine is not one to run from danger.
Quite the contrary.
I can get Renee to help.
Who's Renee?
Alcine's sweetheart, a lovely girl from Paris. Poor thing, she had to come down to the country because her house was bombed out.
Let's leave her out of this.
But, Lieutenant, she would be most happy to help.
Alcine, you got a lot to learn about guerrilla warfare. You might as well study your first lesson right now. It's short and to the point. No dames. Well, the next day, we collected the supplies, which had been dropped with us, and we set up a camp deep in the woods. Hill and I were loaded with French money, so we were able to buy food from the friendly farmers. Maybe it was the food as much as patriotism that brought us recruits. Anyway, after a week, we had nearly 30 men. Our Maquis wasn't big enough for the job we had to do, but it was growing in the right direction. And then one night, as I was winding up a report to London...
Oh? What do they say?
What do they ever say? Message acknowledged. Carry on.
Well, what about new batteries for the radio? What about extra ammunition for the Buck Rogers guns? When are they going to get another drop to us?
Why don't you ask them?
Yeah, I know.
They do the best they can, I guess. After all, we're not the only Boy Scouts in this jamboree.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Duke.
Yeah?
There goes Alcine again, off toward the road.
What the... Hey, Alcine!
Yes?
Come here a minute.
Yes, Lieutenant.
Where are you going?
I was just taking a stroll.
You on night guard?
Not tonight.
You weren't on night guard last night, were you?
No, Lieutenant.
Or the night before?
No, sir.
But you weren't in camp all night, were you?
No, sir.
What's the matter? Don't you like the camp? Rather sleep at your aunt's? Is it too rugged out here for you?
No, sir.
Then where were you?
In the village.
You know the orders. No one is to go into the village.
Yes, Lieutenant, but I only go in at night.
That makes no difference.
But it does. You see, Lieutenant, I'm so in love.
Oh, great.
The girl from Paris?
Yes. You should see her, Lieutenant. She's the most beautiful, the most charming,
Don't you know you're endangering the whole Maquis by disobeying my orders?
Oh, no, sir. There's no danger with Renee. She hates the bush. Why, she wants to join us.
You've told her about us?
Oh, yes, sir.
Are you out of your mind? How do you know she's all right?
I just know that's all. She's the most wonderful person in the world. She's a real patriot.
I told you, rule number 1 is no dames.
Yes, but Renee is different.
Yeah. Well, you better marry her before you bring her around here, or you'll have to share her with the rest of these wolves.
Lieutenant, do I understand you?
Forget it, Alcine. It's just an American figure of speech.
May I tell Renee she can join us?
Well, not quite yet. Later, maybe.
Yes, Lieutenant. Is that all?
Yeah, that's all.
If you got to take it, Alcine, take it easy.
I do not understand.
Just another American idiom, Alcine. Good night.
Good night, sir.
Hey, Duke. You gonna let him get away with that?
Well, what are we gonna do?
Slap him into the guardhouse for 30 days.
Only this isn't the American Army. We haven't any guardhouse.
Yeah, stinks from a security standpoint.
I know. If we try to keep these boys from sneaking off home every now and then, we're not gonna have any Maquis.
These French. An immoral race.
I don't know about that. Remember Phoenix City, Alabama?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I see what you mean.
There wasn't anything we could do. If we'd ordered Alcine to stay in camp, he'd have sneaked off anyway. He had that dreamy, faraway look that's baffled parents, teachers, and first lieutenants since the beginning of time. I didn't worry too much about it because our Maquis was growing, and Ed Hill and I were breaking our backs pushing those French kids through an ersatz basic in 3 weeks. Headquarters in London didn't tell us much, but we did know from the BBC that the boys had landed at Omaha Beach, and it wouldn't be long before they'd be needing our roadblocks. And then one morning, about D+4, I think it was, I was out in the woods running a squad through concealment drill. No. Hit the dirt. Don't wait or you're dead. When you see the signal, hit the dirt right now.
Pardon me, Lieutenant.
Huh? Oh, Alcine. Where have you been all night as though I didn't know?
Lieutenant, I've got to talk to you.
Okay, I'll be through here in a half hour or so.
I've got to talk to you now.
Huh? All right, Alcine. Okay, boys, take 5. Come along, Alcine. What's on your mind?
Lieutenant, my family's been killed.
Oh, no.
Yes, by the Gestapo. They set fire to the house. My mother, my father, my 2 sisters. They ran out. The Gestapo shot them.
You're sure of this?
Yes, I heard it this morning from a neighbor who saw it happen.
You poor kid.
When can we attack, Lieutenant? When can we stop this endless training and fight the bush? Now I want only to kill and kill and kill until I pay them back for my father, my mother, my 2 sisters.
Yeah, I know. You'll get your chance, Alcine, but not yet. We gotta wait. We're not ready yet.
I'm ready. Before I wanted to fight the Boche for my country. Now I want to kill him again and again. For them.
I know, but you gotta be patient.
It should happen to me now. Only last night Renee said she'd marry me. Come to live here with me in the camp. I was so happy. And this morning I learned this news.
When did you hear from your mother last?
Not for a month since we began to work, but I've written her every week.
You have? Who mailed the letters?
Renee mailed them for me. She's so kind and thoughtful. She offered to mail letters home for the other boys, too.
Oh, that was nice of her. Did they take advantage of her offer?
A couple of them.
Who?
Paul and Jean. I told them about it, and they wrote their families.
And Renee mailed the letters, huh?
Yeah, she's a wonderful person, Lieutenant. You're going to love her.
Yeah, I think I am.
She's all I've got in the world now.
2 and 2 make 4 in occupied France, just the same as anywhere else. And sometimes it's just as hard to prove. But one thing was sure. Now I wanted to meet Renee in the worst way. But I had to postpone the pleasure because early that afternoon, one of the outposts broke into camp out of breath.
Lieutenant.
Yes, Paul.
The Boche. They're coming down the road through the forest.
How many?
I did not stop to count them. Several truckloads, to be sure.
Pass the word to Lieutenant Hill. Ask him to bring his detail into camp on the double.
Yes, Lieutenant.
Alcine.
Yes, sir?
Take 2 men and go down by the road and see what they're up to.
Yes, sir.
Just reconnoiter. Don't fire at them.
But this is my chance for revenge.
Listen to me. Don't fire at them. That's a command.
Yes, sir.
They may not be after us at all. Now get going.
Immediately, Lieutenant.
What's the order of the day, Duke? Plan scram?
Yeah, it looks like it. All your men here?
President accounted for.
All right, boys, now gather around, will you, and get this. There's a convoy of Germans coming down the forest road. Now, wait a minute. We're not going to fight them. You know what our job is. Roadblocks. We got tanks, artillery, and airplanes that'll be along soon to do the killing.
But we have guns.
Now, look, our security's been pretty good. And those Krauts may be on a routine patrol. The chances are they don't even know we're here.
They do now. Listen.
Yeah, well, that does it. All right, you men got your weapons?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now, you know the procedure. Get lost. Before you leave the forest, bury your weapons, ammunition, and equipment. Rendezvous at the home of Alcine's aunt at 2200 hours tonight. Good luck. Come on, Ed, let's scram.
Well, he who doesn't fight and runs away lives to fight another day.
Or something like that.
Who tipped them off?
I'm not sure, but I got a pretty good idea.
Who's down there at the road?
Alcine. He's fighting a private war, the poor jerk. The basic rule of 3 in guerrilla warfare is surprise, kill, vanish. However, when you're surprised, the only rule is vanish. And we did. There were about 50 Germans and a half a dozen dogs to track our scent. They spent the day thrashing through the woods, firing into the underbrush, and finding nothing. It was a classic withdrawal, and Hill and I were proud of our little army, with the exception of Alcine, its self-appointed hero. When we arrived at his aunt's house that night for the rendezvous, a half a dozen of the boys were already there.
Who is it?
Fleur.
Julie. Ah, Lieutenant, come in.
Good evening, madame.
Alcine is already here. I'm so proud of him.
Ah, Lieutenant, I was just telling Tante Marie and the boys it was magnificent. I got 2 of them. I killed 2 Boche.
Your orders were not to shoot.
But, Lieutenant, what would you?
What happened to the other boys who were with you?
Jean was wounded and captured. Antoine became frightened and ran away.
That blows the Marquis. They'll get the full particulars from Jean.
They haven't got him already.
I'm sorry, Lieutenant, but...
Quiet. Answer it, madame.
Who is it?
Fleur.
Julie.
Open it.
Good evening, madame.
Come in, boys.
Running any trouble, boys?
As you see, we are here.
Yeah.
But not for long. Lieutenant,
Yes,
Raoul
Paul?
and I wish to withdraw from the Marquis.
Quit? Why?
The risk is too great.
You afraid?
For myself, no. But after what happened to John.
He was wounded and captured. We all take that risk.
Yes, but last night the Gestapo got Jean's family. Like they did Alcine's. Stood them up in front of their house and shot them. Who knows what'll be next? My mother, Raoul's sister, Alcine's aunt. I wish to withdraw.
So do I.
Right, now, wait a minute. I don't blame you for being worried about your families. But whose families do you think the British and American armies up in Normandy are fighting to liberate? Their own? No, yours. Now, this thing isn't as bad as it looks. There's been a leak in our security. Somebody's been putting the finger on us, so we lay low until the leak's plugged.
But the Germans are everywhere. Spies, perhaps, too, are everywhere.
I think I know who's responsible for these murders. I'll make a deal with you. Give me a couple of days to work it out. We'll issue you boys some money, and all you've got to do is to get lost until Saturday night, and then meet me back here. If I haven't patched up our security by then, you can all quit the Marquis and become collaborators.
Oh, it is not that, Lieutenant.
No one wishes to collaborate.
But one must think of one's family.
Okay. Ed.
Yeah, Duke.
Give the boys 1,000 francs apiece.
Right. Come and get it, boy. Come on.
Alcine.
Yes, my lieutenant?
I'm going to have a little time on my hands for the next couple of days. Do you think you could arrange to introduce me to your girlfriend?
Oh, but of course, Lieutenant.
Maybe, if she's okay, like you say, we can let her sign up, huh?
I am desolated with happiness, Lieutenant.
One thing. None of that lieutenant business around her until I make sure she's all right.
Very well.
You think my French is good enough to pass as a native?
But of course, Lieutenant.
All right, then pass me off as a friend of yours. Let's see, I'll need a name. Let's call me Jacques Dufresne.
Jacques Dufresne. Good, I will make the arrangements immediately.
I thought you'd like an excuse to get into town tonight. The next afternoon, Alcine brought the girl out to the woods near his aunt's house. I stood behind a tree to watch and make sure they weren't being followed. She was all right. Tall, long, sunburned legs, her hair caught in a blue ribbon like a little girl's. I let them walk by, and then I stepped from behind my tree.
Oh, there you are, Jacques.
Hello, Alcine.
René, this is my good friend Jacques Dufresne. He's from Paris, too. Jacques, this is René de Cibourg.
Glad to meet you, mademoiselle.
And I'm honored to meet you, monsieur. Where do you live in Paris?
Near the Porte du Lilas, but my home is no longer there. It was bombed out.
Alas, so was mine.
My family remain with friends, but I've come out into the country to fight with the resistance.
Jacques has much influence with the commander of our Marquis.
Oh, I hope you will be able to persuade him to let me join you, monsieur.
I shall do what I can.
It would be a privilege and an honor to work with a patriot like you.
See, Jacques, I told you René was all right.
You didn't tell me the half of it. Mademoiselle, you understand that we must be cautious. There are questions I must ask, of a confidential nature.
Why don't we meet again? Alone.
Why not?
Say, tonight? I have a little car.
But-
We might take a drive.
Fine.
But, René, you promised me
I
that...
can see you some other time, ma chère. Remember, France comes first.
We just drove that night. She was wearing a white ribbon in her hair and a loose white dress and no stockings. We just drove around in her little Citroën with the top down and the wind blowing her hair like a girl in a magazine ad. Then we came back about midnight and parked by the bridge. I felt like I was back in high school in Illinois.
Look at those stars, Jacques.
Yeah.
So many of them. So close you can almost reach out and touch them.
Yeah.
I had them all once, Jacques. I reached out and gathered them all in my arms once.
Yeah?
I want you to know all about me, Jacques.
I want to.
Don't think it's wrong of me. But I've been in love.
There's nothing wrong in being in love.
He was a soldier.
Most everybody is these days.
A German soldier.
Oh,
Don't you think that love is bigger than war or hate or anything?
yeah, I guess so.
He's dead now.
That's good. I'm sorry. I mean, I didn't mean to hurt you. I'm not sorry he's dead.
Jacques, I'm so confused. I want to understand things. I want to be intelligent about things. But everything gets so mixed up. Like now.
Like now?
Yes. Jacques, I've never been so happy as I am tonight.
Not even with the German?
Not even with him. Why does it have to end? Why do those blessed stars have to go out one by one to make way for another day of war? Why can't we stop time, you and I, and gather all the stars together, just for us?
I don't know, baby. It's never been done before. But we can try.
Ma chère, chère Jacques.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night,
Same time, same place. Forever if you say the word.
forever.
Sure, why not? Who knows how long forever is in this crazy world? Why not have it together? Why not get married?
Why not, my most beloved?
See you tomorrow night.
I'll only be half alive until then. Sherry, if you want to write to your family in Paris, give me the letter tomorrow night, and I'll mail it for you.
Oh, no. All right, drop that rock and grab a sock. Rise and shine, lover boy. I brought you a cup of chocolate. Figured you want breakfast in bed this morning.
Oh, thanks.
How'd you make out last night?
Okay.
Details. Let's have the details.
Nothing much to report. We drove, and then we parked for a while and talked.
She give anything away?
No information. She's a funny kid. Her dialogue's as corny as a bobby soxer. She knows she's pretty, so she wants to be admired for her mind. But I'm sure she's our Matahari.
How come?
She offered to mail a letter to my family.
That's consistent.
I asked her to marry me.
What?
She didn't believe me, but she pretended like she did. Oh, I don't know why she's doing what she's doing. Thrills, maybe.
French juvenile delinquent, huh?
Maybe. Tonight's the night.
The night you get married?
No, the night we get her. The boys are meeting us here at midnight, you know.
What's the plan?
Well, I'll take another ride with her. And about midnight, we'll be back in park by the bridge. You'll be there out of sight. I'll have some brandy along, and I'll slug her drink with a capture pill. When she's passed out, I'll give you the come on, and you join me. Here, baby, have another drink, huh?
I shouldn't, Jack. Brandy always makes me sleepy.
Well, what of it? This is a celebration of our engagement.
Oh, kiss me, Jack. Again and again.
Sure.
Jack, the stars are nearer. Nearer than they've ever been.
Nearer than you think, baby.
I love you, Jack. I do love you. Kiss me again. Do it again. And again.
Renee. Baby. Are you asleep? You collaborationist pig, can you hear me? Okay, Ed.
Is she out?
Like a red light in an air raid. Here's her purse. Start through it while I untangle myself, will you?
Now, take a look at this.
What is it?
A letter from Gestapo headquarters confirming receipt of 3 addresses.
Let me see that. Well, that one's Alcine's family, and that one's Jean's.
And here's a Gestapo identification card.
Flash your light over there. Look at her.
What a dish.
Look at that kisser. And she's responsible for the death of 6 people whose only crime was being born French. She'd have wrecked our marquee, snafu'd our mission, and turned me over to the Gestapo with her lipstick still on my collar. That gorgeous hunk of double cross. Well, we got the proof. Let's get on with it.
Okay. I guess you'd rather I...
No, this is my job.
Gee, she's gorgeous.
Yeah. So long, honey. Thanks.
She ain't so gorgeous now.
Release that handbrake. Got it. Come on, shove. Not yet. Keep that steering wheel straight. The river's deepest right at the center of the bridge. Yeah. Now, hard right on the wheel. You know something, Ed?
Huh?
I think she finally did gather that armful of stars. Sure, the operation was successful. When the time came, our roadblocks tied up 3 German divisions while Patton rolled on to the east. But I still lie awake at night thinking I should have married that dame. Yeah, the operation was successful, but the patient died.
Operation Fleur-de-Lis was written, directed, and produced by William N. Robeson with Jack Webb as Duke, Elliot Lewis as Hill, Peggy Weber as Renee, and Harry Bartell as Alcine. Operation Fleur-de-Lis was based on an incident from the files of the OSS, recorded in Sub Rosa by Stuart Alsop and Thomas Braden. The special musical score was conceived and conducted by Cy Feuer. Escape is presented by CBS and its affiliated stations each week at this time. Next week, we invite you to escape with F. Scott Fitzgerald in his unforgettable story, The Diamond as Big as the Ritz. And so, good night, until next week, when again it will be time to escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Here's Ella Raines, one of Hollywood's loveliest young stars' own tip on complexion care. I never skip my Lux Soap facials a single day, she says. They're so quick and easy. I just cream the rich Lux lather well into my skin. Rinse with warm water, then a quick splash of stimulating cold. I pat to dry with a soft towel. Now my skin feels so satin smooth and soft. Try this simple care Ella Raines recommends. It's so easy to be Lux lovely. Lux Soap has active lather, you know, that really makes skin lovelier. That's why 9 out of 10 screen stars use fragrant white Lux toilet soap regularly.
Thanks for listening to HOJO Radio. We'll be back again very soon.